We're late. We're 30 seconds late, but it's glad to be here. Good to see everybody. The chat is so lively, and we haven't even gotten started yet, so that is completely awesome. But welcome to another Monday night here at Carnivore Talk. And again, this is a roundtable discussion, and we invite you to be on the screen with us. And I just posted the link over in the chat. So if you have a little bit of bravery and a webcam and a mic of your own, feel free to join us on stage, and we can talk about your carnivore successes. We can answer your carnivore questions, and you don't have to be a carnivore either. You know, as long as you've got some respect and decency when it comes to having a nice discussion, you're welcome to join us. And we're here to help everyone out as much as possible. So our theme tonight is don't be a carnivore cop. And the reason this comes up from time to time is, well, we don't like militant vegans, you know, and we see some of those from time to time here on our live chats. Dustin from Keto Simple has told me several times that you can make it so those who are in the comments in the chat have to be subscribers for a certain duration of time, and I can go in and set that myself. So just to see what that's like, if you want to comment here on YouTube, you have to be a subscriber for 1 minute. So that's it. You just have to deal with it for 1 minute, and then you can make a comment on YouTube. If you do not even so much as want to give us a subscription for 1 minute, you can also go to Facebook and X, and you can comment there all you want, and we're going to see it. And we might even put it on the screen. So you can watch this from multiple locations. We're streaming over at Facebook, over on X, and here on YouTube. Biggest audience is here on YouTube. We get a little bit of an audience over on Facebook. We get almost no audience on X, and we'll probably ditch that eventually for something else. People have recommended Rumble. So what are your thoughts? You know, where else should I stream? I can stream at 3 places at once for the license that we're using. Let's blow these up real big here. So let's welcome our guests who have joined us on the screen so far. We have Jeff, my partner in crime over on carnivore-talk.com, and we have Paul. He's a channel subscriber, and we need to think of something to do for channel subscribers. We're starting to get more, and I need to think of something really special for them, and I can't, you know, if you have some ideas, I'll take those as well. And we have our brother from over the seas, George Goodenough. How is everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, no worries, Bob. The only reason I come on is that it's going to keep me awake because I actually fell asleep during this last Monday. So I'm hoping that if I'm actually on screen, I'll stay awake with you.
All right, very good. Glad to have you here.
It is. To be fair, it is 1 o'clock in the morning over here, so it's a kind of a late night for me.
Yeah. What time do you usually crash?
Because I've sort of aligned myself with the USA community now, I'm kind of operating on Eastern Standard Time. So anything really, depending on what's going on. So yeah, on Monday night, or Monday go into Tuesday, it's 3 o'clock with you, and then Tuesday into Wednesday, we've got keto cookout. So again, it's 3 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's I've had to adjust my body clock accordingly. It's probably totally messing up my circadian rhythms, but hey ho, it's worth it to hang out with you guys.
All right, we're glad to have you here. I usually crash about 11 or midnight, and I have a biphasic sleep pattern. So I wake up at 3, let the dog out, drink some water, go back to bed, probably fall back asleep at 4 and sleep till 7. It's been like that since I've been carnivore. So
that's a great word, biphasic. I've got something similar because I wake up in time for the Dr. Kilts in the morning, which is 11 o'clock my time here. So I'm up at sort of 10 o'clock my time, and then I'm ready for the Dr. Kilts in the morning. And then I do go to sleep in the afternoon, ready for my working day, which is with you guys from, I don't know, 7 o'clock my time onwards until maybe 3 in the morning. So yeah, I do have split my sleeps now between night and day.
All right. We'll get to the chat in a little bit. Let's say hi to Paul. How are you doing, Paul?
Okay. Struggling a bit, but
all right.
Got a new medical challenge out there and not real happy about it, but
Tell us about it.
If you want. Yeah, I mean, if
I
you're
got-
not ready for that, that's okay too.
I've been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency.
Okay, I'm going to have to look that up.
It's where you're out. I've learned a lot. There's two sets of veins in your legs. There's the ones deep down inside,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the surface veins. You don't need your surface veins. That's why they can take a vein out of your thigh and put it up in your heart. So some of my surface veins in my lower legs, the valves inside of them are shot, I guess. So I see a surgeon on Thursday. They stick a needle in there, run a wire up your vein, and then they zap it. They irritate it so it heals up and clot and shuts itself off.
Mm-hmm.
Or they inject this medicine into it, and then they bombard it with radio frequency waves and like solder it shut. You don't need your outer veins. And I never even thought of this, but my legs swelled up so much I couldn't put my shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just reading about it here. It says that the condition where the veins in the legs cannot pump enough blood back to the heart, so you get pressure in the veins and maybe some swelling in the feet and ankles. So that happens to my mom for congenital. I think it's called congenital heart failure. She gets some swelling in the leg, you know, but she doesn't.
over 10% of the population, over 10% of the population will get it.
Okay, you're starting to break up. We heard that 10% of the population gets it, and then all right, and your signal's a little choppy, so we're gonna see if maybe that'll catch back up, and we'll talk to Jeff for a moment.
They were worried about my heart. Oh, he's 69 years old. He eats all that fat, blah blah blah. You know. So I could see the good. So they did my heart, but that test I came out.
Yeah. Right. The first thing they're going to do is target the diet, of course. So Jeff, how's the move doing down there in Texas?
Oh, it's doing great.
Still never ending, or is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Is it still never ending, or is there a light at the end of the tunnel finally?
No, it seems hopelessly never ending. It's, you know, we're in the hard part. We're completely moved in. It's just now we're trying to find where to put everything, and we're discovering that we have less walls in this house than we had in the old house. You know, which means we have less space to put things up on. But my main focus is I've spent all day doing fence work and trying to organize my shop. I've got all my tools finally out and on the pegboards and got all that organized. Now it's just a matter of starting unpacking boxes and putting everything where it needs to go. Now we on a big plus side though, we got our beeves back from the processor earlier in the week, and we had one of our freezers go out, which I spoke about last week, and we got the new one in, and we filled that sucker up, and then we got our big one almost full. So somebody asked me last week, I don't remember who it was, what my total cost was on those two beeves, and so I asked wife, get the books out and figure it out because she keeps track of everything, and so between the initial cost of the calves, feed, and these calves never needed any vet or medication. So we were fortunate there. And we always have really good grass. So, you know, they were raised on grass, good pasture. We only had to supplement during the winter. So when it was all said and done, one of them, the hanging weight was about 658. The other hanging weight was about 673 or something like that. So we got 1,300 pounds of beef for, it costs us $3.01 a pound.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So that's what you can do when you raise your own.
What breed was that?
They were crossbreds. One was Brahma and Beefmaster, and the other one was Beefmaster, but I don't remember what the cross was. It wasn't Brahma; it was something else. But I don't remember. That was the heifer. She was a good looking heifer too. But I just know half of the cross was Beefmaster.
All right. I was looking over at the chat, seeing everybody here. All these comments are before we actually went live, and we had our first one who gets the award, which is just an applause. That's all we have to give right now. Goes to Granny Boo too. She was the first one to clock in the waiting room as we were waiting to go live.
I think she was the first one last week too.
Yeah. And then we've seen like, Main Runner and Coach Juliet Edens is in here. I've been putting these up on the screen. Of course, George Goodenough has joined us on the screen.
Here I am.
Yeah. And let's see here. And who else we got in here? Here's Grammy G. And good evening, Grammy G. Hope everything is going fantastic for you as well. All right. It's 8 p.m. here in Maine. Yes, 8 p.m. here in Ohio, too. So, yeah, when I advertise this, I always say 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Very good. And, of course, Paul has joined us on screen as well. You, too, if you would like to join us on screen. Remember, we got room for 10. Yeah, so we got 6 empty seats right now. So, and, yeah, just checking if I really can't chat anymore. So I'm guessing it said something in the chat when I changed it, or it says something on the video when you enter. I didn't know that either. So, but yeah, for the first time, I'm experimenting with those who can chat have to be subbed for at least 1 minute. So if you're not subbed and you want to chat, please sub. So, and that would be great. If you want to make a comment and you don't want to sub, you can go over to Facebook because we're streaming over there as well. So, all right.
Yeah, can I just pick up on the beef breeds? I'm not long back from Wyoming, where I visited Tyler McCann on the Hancock Ranch, and his crosses are Red Angus, Black Angus, and Herefords. So yeah, that's interesting. I do have a particular interest in beef farming. Doing a bit of research here in the UK, I've managed to locate 59 100% grass-fed and raised producers. They're all small. But yeah, it's just an interest of mine. So it's always interesting to hear about the beef cattle breeds.
Yeah, your Angus are good cattle, well marbled, good muscled. They're one of the top meat producing cattle we've got here. Most people prefer the blacks. I know a lot of people that are raising the reds, but they're an easy, trouble-free cattle. Herefords, they're a good beef cattle, but they can have some issues, medical issues. So I kind of steer clear of them, but the Angus are excellent fare.
Yeah, to be honest, Jeff, I'd never heard of the Red Angus until I went to Wyoming, because the Black Angus over here is very popular, as is the Hereford.
Right.
But the Red Angus, not so much. But most of our most expensive steaks in the supermarkets, at least, is Black Angus. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and the thing is with that is, to be honest, and I kind of hate to say this, but there's some truth to it. It's a overhyped. No, I don't want to say a scam, but it's overhyped publication. Years ago, the ranchers that were raising Angus wanted to really promote their beef, And so they started a whole bloodline thing, registration, let's keep the breed pure, all this, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they started hyping it up and advertising it as being so superior to anything else. And in so doing, that raised the popularity, which also allowed them to raise the prices of it to make it seem like it's more premier beef.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I've eaten all different kinds, and there is some beef I don't want to eat. That I've had some bad beef, from certain breeds, usually the milk cattle breeds. But as far as good beef, I guarantee you, I could put you one of my steaks in front of you, a steak from a registered premier Angus, black Angus, red Angus, whatever, or just some rangy 3-way cross, thing out in the pasture. And odds are you're not going to notice the difference. As long as the meat was handled properly, it was aged properly, and it was cooked properly, I doubt if you're going to be able to spot the difference.
That's right.
There's just a lot of hype when it comes to the Angus. They are a good beef cattle. They are easy to raise, and they do produce some really good meat. But in reality, most of it's hype.
Yeah, they are the second most expensive that we got in our supermarkets now, because the only one more expensive than the Angus is the Wagyu.
Right,
and that's the only one more expensive. Yeah.
Right, the Wagyu's gotten real popular here now. Wagyu, I can spot the difference. I can look at the meat and spot the difference. But that's due to its genetics. It's an amazing meat, but it's one of those ones that, I'm sorry, it's not worth the expense in my book.
I don't think I've ever actually eaten it because it is that expensive that I haven't considered it worthwhile to get it.
I've eaten. Now, I will admit I have not eaten the Japanese Wagyu. They've got the really premium stuff. We can't get that here. They will not allow the genetics out of their country. And so all we can get is a Wagyu cross. Now, it's still very good and it's still very fatty, but it's not the same as what you get in Japan. But I would love to try what they have in Japan, but I don't buy it here simply because I have had it and I don't think it's worth the cost.
So all this is foreign to me. Like, I'm just a simpleton when it comes to carnivore. Beef is beef. I go down to the store and you have basically like select, choice, and prime. And usually I get the one in the middle. I get this choice, and because the prime is usually overpriced, and I haven't really noticed much of a difference. It kind of looks the same. Supposedly prime is more marbled, but then as far as species goes, I've heard a little bit here. Certain species from Japan are really popular, but for me, it's just beef is beef. So, and believe it or not, I was talking to someone the other day. Pork probably rivals beef as my staple. So, we usually say that beef is a carnivore staple, but mine actually, I eat a lot of pork. I eat a lot of bacon. I eat a lot of sausage. And then I eat a lot of processed pork products too, like kielbasis and bratwursts and things like that. I look for beef options, but I'm not necessarily like married to them all the time. And so I think pork might outpace beef for me some weeks, but not all the time. I still probably average more beef consumption than I do pork. But I try and eat all kinds of meats too. So I still go for the chicken. I still go for the seafood, but the ruminant animals, that's still probably 55% or better. So it's close though. Pork comes in a close second for me. How about you guys?
It depends on what I got in the freezer and what time of the year it is. if it's hunting season, it's going to be venison. Venison's my number one. I can't get enough of it. After that, probably lamb or goat. In fact, I spent most of the morning this morning down at the sheep and goat sale down in Hamilton, just seeing what the market is right now. I'm fixing to buy a bunch of goats and put them on my place. But I'm big on my lamb. Of course, I raise them and process them. So, but most of my pork is going to be wild pig that we shoot here, that I hunt.
Yeah, the venison's interesting because we're coming into venison season now in the UK, and I'm organising a meetup in the middle of November. And one of the meats that we will be offering will be a haunch of venison, because my brother got a gift from a gamekeeper here of a haunch of venison. He said, it's too big for me. What should we do with it? I said, I'll tell you what, we'll have a meetup. So yeah, we've and it's going to be one of the features of the meetup. We've got a bit of a it's sort of close to the Christmas, Thanksgiving, if you like. Then so there's going to be a turkey involved as well. There's going to be a mix of meats, but venison will be definitely one of them. And the deer in this country now have become a real menace in terms of numbers. In fact, I lost a car to a deer in May of last year. It was something called a roe deer, which is a medium-sized deer. Jumped out of the hedge. I never had a chance, and it trashed the left-hand side of my car. So the car got written off, and they really are, and just in numbers, they're a real menace. So it's they're very, very, very much available. Like I said, the gamekeeper gave my brother this haunch because it's just so common over here now. But I like it. It's not very fatty, so we do add a bit of fat to it, like bacon, for example.
Yeah, you got to cook it in tallow or some type of animal fat. And I go through a lot of butter when I'm eating venison.
Mm.
I love it, but yeah, it is too lean.
I'm looking you up on YouTube, George. There you are. So
yeah, I do have a very small channel. Actually, I can announce now that that's changing tomorrow because my great friend Stephanie Taylor, who's one of our classmates, she's I've got a 1 o'clock here appointment with her on StreamYard. We're going to change my name to Good Enough for You. She's going to teach me how to host people. So I will be doing chat shows myself in the future. At the moment, I am a one-take wonder because I have got no idea how to do thumbnails, no idea how to edit or add photographs. But Stephanie is who has her own channel, which is Happy Sexy Health. She's going to be my teacher, and I'm hosting Dr. Kilts on October the 7th. So I've got to be ready and up and running for the chat show by the time I do that. So yeah, it's a relaunch tomorrow. Good Enough for You, it will be called.
Okay, but
Cool.
It'll probably have the same vanity URL, right? The George Goodenough 823. You're just changing the name.
I think so. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I know nothing about it, and I'm relying on Stephanie to tell me what to do tomorrow. So
Okay.
we should have to wait and see what comes of that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a channel change of the channel name to Good Enough for You. So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
So I just pasted.
That's me.
Yeah, I just pasted the link in the chat. So if you're not subscribed to George, click on over there and
Yeah, lovely.
Subscribe.
Thanks for that, Bob. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and so yeah, and I think what's probably going to happen is that where it says George Goodenough in big bold letters will have the new, you have a new title, but you're that.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
George Goodenough 823. That might stay the same. Although you might be able to change that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah.
In Stephanie, I trust when it comes to all things StreamYard. So I'm looking forward to the lesson tomorrow.
if you go there now and subscribe, if they can change it, when it does change, you'll still be subscribed. So you go ahead and do that
exactly.
Take advantage of that link I just posted. Go show George some support.
Yeah, a great friend of mine over here, Carl Day, changed his name from Carnivore Nation to the Primal Lifestyle and didn't tell anybody. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. So it was it caught me by surprise for a couple of days. But then I realized that, I was still subscribed to him, even though the channel name had changed. So it does work that way.
Lewis asks, how did everyone celebrate National Coffee Day? I didn't even know it was National Coffee Day.
I celebrate it by not drinking coffee.
And I don't drink coffee anymore either. You know what's funny though is I used to have I've got a Facebook page called Coffee Lovers that I don't do anything much with anymore. And I used to have when I was on Google Plus, I had a group called Coffee Lovers, and it was like I had like 60,000 followers. It was really popular because I was a huge, massive coffee drinker. I was so addicted to it, and I championed it. And then now, when I found out that it was actually the source of a lot of my health issues, and I stopped drinking it and recovered. Now I don't shame anybody that drinks coffee. You know, I personally just didn't realize the harm it was causing me. I in particular have a sensitivity towards it. So I also, it's a holiday I don't celebrate. National Coffee Day is against my religion now.
You know, I've spoke about this before. I just lost my taste for it. Now, I've been a coffee drinker since I was in my teens, and I used to drink it every day, and then I got to the point where I just cut down to 3 cups a day. But you know, for years that's the way I was when I was working. But when I had Crohn's, and they had me on that all grain diet, one of the things they wanted me to do was quit drinking coffee, and so I quit drinking coffee. And when I went carnivore, and I cured my Crohn's or reversed it, then I decided, well, I'll go back to drinking coffee. And I went back drinking it, and I'd only been off of it for a month or two, but I just lost my taste. It was nasty. I didn't want it. And I went to drinking tea after that. Then after a year drinking tea, I just decided, you know, I've gotten rid of everything that I'm addicted to except tea or except caffeine. So why not cut out the one more thing that's controlling me? So I cut out the tea. Now I don't have anything that I'm addicted to anymore.
Yeah, and I'm still admittedly a slave to caffeine. So,
well, I'm very glad that nobody's objecting to us still drinking coffee, because I've got a Nespresso machine, and it gets Nespresso, and it gets a lot of use. And interestingly enough, our great friend Alia over at Dr. Kilt, she loves Nespresso as well. So, yeah, there are 1 or 2 of us out there still drinking coffee.
And that brings up an excellent point. What is the theme of tonight's podcast?
The Carnivore Police, absolutely. Yeah.
Carnivore Police. And how often does this come up when somebody's drinking coffee and so somebody wants to start screaming, oh my God, that's a plant, that's a bean, you know, or tea, oh, the oxalates, that's a plant. Come on, people. There's no need to be that strict about it, because this is one of those things where we have to look at it individually. If you are having issues and you're drinking tea or you're drinking coffee,
like I was,
you're drinking some other stimulant, if you're having issues, cut that out and see if that fixes your issues. But if you're not having issues, if everything is peachy keen, you know, and going along smoothly, don't cut out something like that if you don't want to. It's got to be an individual thing. And just because I lost my taste for it, you know, I'm not going to say that everybody has to give it up. You know, you give up what you need to give up or what you want to give up, but not because somebody else thinks it ain't carnivore because it comes from a plant.
Yeah, I've been in this space for 3.5 years now, and I only gave up alcohol 6 months ago. So I still did pretty well on alcohol, but it is better. Basically what happened is that it wasn't affecting my liver, because my liver was fine, but it was affecting my brain, because I lost 120 pounds, and of course there was no fat, and it went straight to my brain, and I was losing my memory after, you know, sort of half a bottle of wine. So yeah, the alcohol had to go back in March, and I'm very pleased to say I haven't touched a drop since. So that's another one off the list.
And that's another thing I lost my taste for. Now, you know, back in the day, especially when I was in the service and for some years later, I was a big beer drinker. And there was a time that I even wondered if I wasn't an alcoholic. I drank so much. But once I got married and had children, that really started curbing my appetite for drinking. I didn't stop, but I didn't drink near as much, and I didn't drink all the time. And when I became carnivore, I cut out beer, I cut out wine, and I only drank whiskey and or bourbon. And in time, I just lost my taste for it once again. There's something for me. It's something about cleaning up my body. You know, getting all the toxins out of my body, cleaning everything up. My body just starts saying, I don't want poison in me anymore. I don't want this stuff in me. It's just like, so the grandkids were over, spent the night with us last night. Wife went to the store and she got sandwich making, fixing stuff, and some Cheetos and some ice cream, you know. And I looked at that stuff on the counter this morning, and there's no appeal whatsoever. It just does not tempt me anymore. You know, and the whiskey's the same way. I've lost my taste for all that kind of stuff. All I want is just pure nutrition that comes from meat. That's all my body wants anymore.
Quick one, Jeff, just before Peter gets into these. Which branch of the service were you?
Army.
Oh, me too. I was Army for 8 years. So, yeah, certainly in the British Army, drinking is a real big culture.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I was Army infantry, so we really socked it away any chance we got.
And I'm to the point now where I can't have any alcohol either.
All that junk we used to eat.
This is because of my kidneys.
Go ahead.
So, like, I went years, you know, since I started my carnivore diet without any alcohol, and then I was in this one circumstance where I went to a restaurant with a friend of ours, and I had a large Dos Equis there. Then we went back to their house and played games, and I had a Yingling there. And I went home, and then I crashed on my recliner. And I woke up about a little after midnight, and every muscle in my body was cramping. The arches of my feet, the Charlie horses, the muscles from my knees up to my inner thighs, my back and arms. I got out of the chair, hunched over, and I was sweating because I was in shock. And the whole episode lasted about 9 minutes. I almost woke up my wife and had her take me to the hospital. I had hobbled over to the kitchen and I got my daily minerals, and I took a couple shots of daily minerals because I figured it was an electrolyte imbalance. And then it went away, and I was afraid to go to sleep after that. Now, since then, I've occasionally will go out for karaoke or open mic night, and usually to honor the establishment, I might have a bourbon, like a Kentucky bourbon on the rocks. And so last Tuesday was one of those occasions. It had been about 3 months. I had a Kentucky bourbon on the rocks, came home, went to bed, and I actually woke up a couple times in the night where I was getting cramps in the bottom of my feet and Charlie horses. And all I had was one drink. And so like I'm to the point where like I don't think I can drink. I don't think I can drink alcohol anymore, or at least I can't do it late at night. Because when I was in Myrtle Beach, I did have like a wine slushy, but that was like early in the day. Then I had all day to rehydrate and get that out of me and everything, and I didn't have that experience then. But there's nothing I hate more than cramps, and I usually don't get cramps, and I usually don't have to take electrolytes either. But it seems like anytime I drink in the evening and then go to bed, I have cramping issues. And it makes sense because alcohol can disrupt your electrolytes. Alcohol can dehydrate you, which disrupts your electrolytes. So, and then mine are so sensitive that it's just is what it is. So I'm just learning from experience that I don't think I want to touch alcohol again, unless it's like noon and I know I'm going to be up for the next 12 hours, so. But this drinking, going home and going to bed stuff it's just not cut out. I'm not cut out for that anymore. So, but yeah, as far as carnivore police goes, coffee's a great example. Dr. Barry loves his coffee. He'll even tell you that coffee's carnivore. He's got his own little silly reasoning to explain it away. And then we know others like Anthony Chafee is very opposed to coffee and says you should get off the coffee too. So I don't care if you drink coffee or not. I'm not going to say you're not a carnivore if you drink coffee. because I don't like to slap that label on people. And like we've talked about before, a carnivore, by definition, a hypercarnivore is someone who gets 70% or more of their nutrition from animal products. So if you are the type of carnivore that likes to have a little coffee or tea once in a while, or the type of carnivore that likes to use some spices, so I've talked to people like, oh my God, you put a little, little shaker that's full of salt, onion powder, and garlic powder. You're not a real carnivore. We don't want to be like that, So,
No.
we want to be encouraging, and we want to be upbuilding. We don't need to be carnivore zealots, carnivore purists, carnivore cops. We don't want to be a carnivore cult. That's completely discouraging, and that's not going to help anybody get on board. We hate it when the vegans do it, so why would we do it too? It just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Now, the thing, though, that I would say on that is when you're first starting out on carnivore, I think it is important that you be as strict as you possibly can, to be as pure carnivore as you can. Get the poisons and the toxins out of your body, reach your goals, get to where you want to be. And then if you want to try introducing something back in, then go ahead. Now, I'm not going to include coffee and tea on that because that's something that I don't think you need to worry about being too strict on in the beginning. But, when it comes to the spices, or when it comes to some dairy products, stuff like that, or maybe some vegetation, chill it on that for a while, get your body cleaned up. And when you start reaching your goals, or when you do reach your goals, then try reintroducing some stuff back in if you still want to by that time. And like for me, for instance, okay, I had to really watch dairy because it would stall me out. It would put weight on me if I wasn't careful. Well, now I can indulge in dairy every single day because I'm as light as I ever want to be. And if I don't include dairy, I have a tendency to lose weight now. So I have to use the dairy just to keep my weight up. And I have tried introducing some spices back in, whereas before it was just salt and a little bit of white pepper once in a while. Now I've added garlic. I went back and tried black pepper. Okay, black pepper doesn't work for me. It causes inflammation. I really feel it in my hands and my knuckles because my hands are, 41 years of being a mechanic, my hands are shot. They're beat up pretty bad. And so anything that's going to affect me, if I eat anything that's got sugar, or in this case, pepper, I'm going to feel it in my hands first. So I tried pepper, doesn't work. I cut it out, but I'm doing fine with a little bit of garlic. I don't use a lot, just enough to flavor, but salt and garlic is what I'm doing. And I found some clean Cajun seasoning here a while back. And I've used a little bit of that on my pork rinds and whatnot, and I'm tolerating that just fine too. So experiment. We are an elimination diet. Eliminate everything. Go pure. Start a good clean foundation, and then build your diet from there. Build your home from there, and see what works best for you. But if something's bothering it, kick it out. Just like I will have about once a month, I'm going to have me some jalapenos. That is the one fruit that I'm going to eat is jalapenos. And I love them, and I don't want to give them up, and they don't bother me. So I keep them at a minimum, but I'm still going to indulge once in a while.
Yeah, one of the things I brought back from America with me was this product here called Pluck. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it is actually a dietary supplement, and the basis of it is, I'll read it, is beef organ blend, which is freeze-dried powdered liver, spleen, kidney, heart, and pancreas. But it is flavored. It's got Redmond salt in it, but it has also got onion, garlic, lemon peel, parsley, oregano, marjoram. It's got all the herbs in it as well. But it is basically, it gives you the idea behind it. It was invented by a guy called James Barry, who is a celebrity chef, and he wanted to get organ meat into people. And the best way of doing it, he reckoned, was to turn it into a dry powder. and add it as a supplement to your meals. We can't
He's
actually
using
get
it.
We can't
Doesn't
get
he
it.
advertise it? I'm sorry, but doesn't he advertise that as a seasoning?
It's a sort of cross. The actual description is it's a dietary supplement. That's what he describes it, but it acts as a seasoning as well because
right. That's how I heard it promoted was as a seasoning for your food. I don't remember who was promoting it that way, but it's interesting.
It is. He calls it a dietary supplement because he's trying to get the benefits of all the organ meat into you, but you treat it like a seasoning. You pour it on like you would do salt. So and there is Redmond salt in there as well. So it is a seasoning, but it is also a very good dietary supplement as well. And there we go, Bob's found it.
Yeah, so they use the word seasoning there too. So but I can see where it's a dietary supplement because you got all the nutrition from the organs in it. So
if you look underneath the big word pure on the right hand side, you'll see dietary supplement in very small letters. Underneath it as well.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that'd be one of those things that because of some of the ingredients, you'd have to be careful of and test it out to see if your body tolerates it. If it does, no shame in using it, especially when you can use it as a supplement. And I don't think you could overdo the liver doing it that way.
And so, when you were talking about seasonings, a little bit of onion, a little bit of garlic, what percentage of that is actually your meal? Think about it. You shake a little bit on it. A little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
So, 99.999% of your meal is still that steak or whatever it is you're eating. It's just got a little seasoning on it for flavor. I mean, that's, if you're that sensitive, it might be worth not using, but most people are probably going to be tolerant of that just fine. And there's no harm in doing it. And I think if you use a little bit of seasoning, that doesn't mean we revoke your carnivore card. There's no reason to say, well, you're not a true carnivore. That's that's not encouraging. We don't want to say that. So, and also, you don't have to jump head first into strict unless that's your personality. You can also start low carb to keto to ketovore, and then work your way to a strict carnivore diet also. And that way you might be able to avoid things like the keto flu. Some people do ketovore, and that's as carnivore as they get. Ketovore, 10 grams or less a day. To me, as far as I'm concerned, that's a carnivore diet. But if they're still, why would you want to go stricter? Well, just like Jeff mentioned, if you have those lingering issues, that you still haven't been able to shake, try and get rid of all plant matter and do just the, you might even have to get down to just ruminant meat, salt, and water, to try and then do that for 30 days or so, and then start reintroducing things and try and figure out exactly what the triggers are that might be messing with you. So that's kind of how the diet was designed to begin with. So
but the issue there is you don't know. You may need 5 years of healing for something, okay? It's just like exercise never affected my blood sugar, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, for 3 years, I've been wearing a CGM. Exercise didn't touch my blood sugar. Now, I can tap my foot up and down on the floor 100 times. I can drop my blood sugar 12 points.
Oh, man.
So something is healed, okay? Something has changed.
Yes, that's a good point.
And who was the gal there that looks so wonderful now? Been a carnivore for 15 years or so?
Kelly Hogan.
Kelly Hogan. Isn't that her name?
Yes, Kelly Hogan.
Yeah. She gained weight for the first year. Okay?
Yeah. 23 pounds, yeah.
And so, I'm kind of holding out that, there's a few things carnivore ain't going to fix. Amputated legs. You ain't going to grow a new leg.
Nope.
From all the research I've done so far, my vein issues, carnivore ain't going to do it. It may keep it from ever getting worse or slow down its rate of progression, but it's not going to cure it. Most likely not. Exercise will be a big benefit, but again, we're looking at slowing things down. We're not looking at curing them. There's a few things carnivore just can't do. And the other thing everybody forgets, I think, is the time element. And, I always go back to Bart K. And I could be wrong about this and trusting him, but I don't know. I think the guy's really intelligent. And, there's certain things he poo-poos, like fasting more than 24 hours. He's like, I'm not a fan, I don't see the point in it. He doesn't see the scientific evidence for it. And same way with Eric Westman. He doesn't see the benefit in it. And, Bart K now it says, all these fermented, whatever people are fermenting and eating, he says, it's a waste of time. He's not going to do anything good. Not going to do one bit of good. He thinks it's a fad. And so I don't, and maybe he could be wrong. But, I really do think, you look how technology has changed, okay? Cell phones didn't work that good when they first came out. Dropped calls, battery life was, connections, getting a signal was horrible. Now, cell phones are like golden. They work perfect almost, right? Same way with my CGM. It's not that, it's good, but it's not fantastic. But 20 years from now, the CGM will be old technology. You'll have some kind of implant in your body and it'll be feeding everything to your cell phone. And you'll know everything about your body. You'll know your insulin level. You'll know your ketone level. You'll know all kinds of stuff. They say we're just 3 years away. You can now take a picture of your food and it'll give you the macros on your food. It's not real accurate, but it's a start. And they're saying this is how they harvest grain out in the Midwest. They have it looks like a telephone, but it's a scanner. They scan it. This is how much protein's in it. This is how we're going to pay for it. The more protein content in the grain, the higher the price to the farmer. That's how they're doing it now. It's the same way we spend our dollars on food. Like I've said before, 11 eggs equals 1 pound of about 80 or 85% lean ground beef. The fat and protein content's about equal. So if beef's going for $6 a pound and eggs are $2.40 a dozen, eggs are the better nutritional buy. Now there's some vitamins in each that aren't in the other, but that's a pretty good. That's why I'm now eating 4 eggs a day.
Is that all?
Economically, it's a nutritionally, economic nutrition. It's a big bang for your buck. I wish there was other big bangs for your buck, but
yeah, I tend to eat duck eggs versus chicken eggs on account of the fact the yolk is bigger than the white. So my breakfast every day will be a 10-ounce lamb steak and 2 duck eggs fried in tallow, and that's my go-to breakfast every day. And again, if I eat again during the day, it's pretty much the same thing. So that's my standard eating now: steak and eggs and steak. It's great. It works.
Yeah, I'll have eggs for dinner. So I did last night. I had a power bowl. In fact, we were talking about that earlier. Before I went live, I hurried up and horked down some food. Those who are listening in the chat, we got 29 of you. Tell us what you had for dinner today. So I didn't have eggs tonight, but tonight what I did was right before I went live, I went downstairs and hurried up. I had a half a pound of hamburger left over from the other night. So I made myself a patty, but in that patty, I put in sausage crumbles and bacon bits. And then I stirred it all up and made one big giant burger patty and fried that real quick till it had a sear. So I had a nice black sear on the outside, and it was just slightly still maybe a little bit pinkish, not raw, but a little, I don't like, I like a well done burger, but this one didn't quite get well done because I was burning the outside of it. So, and then I melted some pepper jack cheese over top of it. So that was my dinner right before I got in here. Boy, that was absolutely delicious. I actually am a big fan of mixing several meats together. Last night I did the same thing, but I did the sausage crumbles, the bacon bits, the hamburger, and I put some, scrambled some egg in that mixture also. And then, of course, I used a little bit of my Sazerator seasoning, which is, garlic and onion and salt. So, yeah. So, yeah, what did you have? Let us know in the comments as we work our way through there. Carnivore Coach Ethan says, I'm a fake carnivore. I drink coffee. And Catlin said, I had a slice of apple this past weekend. Arrest me. Yes, both of you need to put on the dunce hat, sit in the corner right now. That's quite all right. So the thumbnail is hilarious. You like that? I actually really enjoy making thumbnails. I have the Adobe Photoshop here, and I'm always trying to think of something. But yeah, I spent an hour looking for a lion in either. I started trying to find like one in a soldier uniform, like a carnivore army officer or a carnivore Nazi, and I couldn't find it. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, let's go carnivore cops. So I started looking for lions of cop costume, and I found that one. So
you should just called up Bart K. He would have taken care of you right quick.
Yeah, he does some creative stuff with his thumbnails too. Garuda Legend.
I've still got my army uniform. If ever you need me to put army uniform on for you, Bob, that's no problems. I can be that role.
All right. Garuda Legend's good to see you back. He's a regular here on our chats. At least one other time before. It's a familiar name. Let's see here. Who else used garlic? I use garlic. So here's another thing too. So my wife, she's very supportive of my carnivore diet, but she's very not carnivore herself. But she's seen the difference it's made in my health, and so she won't let me cheat. She insists that I do everything by the book because she's seen how to improve. So she baked cookies last night. They're for her, not for me. And that's fine. I don't want them anyway. They don't even appeal to me. But sometimes, we cook dinner and we have to take her into account also. So she gets a little tired of steak, steak and eggs.
She's not hungry.
So sometimes she'll want a side. So she might get a side of mashed potatoes. I won't touch those. Sometimes she wants to have a side of broccoli or asparagus. I will occasionally indulge in some of those. Occasionally, not all the time, but I'll make them for her, and sometimes I'll have them too. Sometimes I won't. And then she looked up a recipe for a cheeseburger casserole, and so it was beef, and we used some mayonnaise. So it required some mayonnaise. So I got some avocado oil mayonnaise, Sir Kensington's. So because I'm okay with the avocado, it's not a seed oil. And it required some mustard, and it required a little bit of ketchup. So we got a G. Hughes keto sugar-free ketchup or something, and we made this cheeseburger casserole. So it wasn't it wasn't 100% clean, but it was still, probably 97% carnivore. And I went ahead and made this casserole. She had half of it. I had half of it. So stuff like that, I think, is completely okay. Those things don't bother me. They might trigger some other people, but I'm okay with that. And, but maybe that means I also need to put on my dunce cap and stand in the corner with the other two sisters, and spend 5 minutes in timeout. So, let's see here. I use garlic occasionally. Onion too. I grew a ton of garlic this year. I'm gonna have to barter it for eggs. That's interesting. How many people used to garden something terrible and then became carnivore? And now, what do you do? Do you still garden? Do you still eat the fruits of your labor, or have you stopped gardening now that you're carnivore?
Well, I don't have a place to garden anymore, but why would I? The only reason I would garden would be to feed chickens someday. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew no less than 25 different kinds of tomatoes every year. And I ate tomatoes so they came out of my ears. And I grew, and I grew the burpless cucumbers. I grew the mild cucumbers. And one year I grew these really nasty African cucumbers. They were nasty. Okay, God, I couldn't eat them. And I had some neighbors. They thought they were just wonderful. They were fighting over them. A teenage daughter came over to me at the fence and says, "Could you hang those on my bedroom window?" Houses were close together, and I said, "Yeah, well, because Dad gets them, he don't share them." I go, "Oh, okay." So I slip a few to her back window, and I'm like, God, I had the cutest little 80-foot by 100-foot lot, and I had a swimming pool, a swing set, a tether ball, a rope swing, a garden bed that was 5 foot by 80 foot. I had garden beds that were just vertical, a foot or two wide and 8 foot tall, and I grew all kinds of stuff. It's all gone. And here's the real kicker with me. I ate more than my share. I ate 3 lifetimes of cookies, pies, cakes, and all that stuff, okay? And I could eat a pack of Oreo cookies in one sitting. No problem. And here's the thing. Now, I don't know, I was someplace and I took an Oreo cookie, right? And as I walked out of the break room, I kind of put my hand up to my mouth and found the trash can, and it didn't taste like my memory. It was nothing like I remember it to be. And I guess if you stop feeding this stuff to yourself, you lose the memory of how good you thought it was. And now it's just not as good anymore. Same way with a donut, a cake, anything. It's just not as good anymore.
Most foods are acquired tastes, and so
it doesn't match my dreams. It doesn't match my imagination. It's like the girl you took out in high school. It doesn't keep up with your imagination.
That's funny. Wow, I remember you looking a lot better.
You guys are having too much fun.
How you doing? How you doing, Peter?
Well,
Sorry, when I was in and out.
When I was,
but yeah. Did you see? Do you know Rockin' Keto Amy?
I know who she is. Yes.
Yeah.
So she put together this Carnivore Avengers thing with, and she took AI, and she made all these. Like she's a Bacon Woman, and Erin Booby Goats is Butter Woman or whatever, and Thomas is Prime Rib something, and I'm T-Bone Titan. And it's incredible. She took AI and created, like I sent her a headshot, I guess, of my face, and she, did this put it into AI somehow, and created an actual live motion cartoon. Like
it's called an avatar, I think. Is an avatar?
Yeah, like an avatar. Yeah, like Transformers or something.
Yeah, I know she's been doing that. I've been meaning to send a photo, but I keep forgetting. So I've been pretty busy offline in real life with my business and everything. So yeah, no, I've seen those. Those are actually really cool. So I've
got a funny story about Amy, because for the last couple of months I've been friends with her on Facebook, but I didn't realize I wasn't subbed to her channel until last night when Juliet said, "Oh, Amy's coming on after me." And I thought, well, I haven't got the notification, and I went and checked, and I wasn't subbed to her. So we were friends for a couple of months first, and then I eventually subbed to her last night. So I will be
wow. Yeah,
I will be following her as well.
She
Well, I
had
know
a
how
really she
I
had a
know how that
great live
feels.
she had a great live stream on last night.
I know how that feels because when I went to go share your link, I realized I wasn't subbed to you either. So I'm subbed now.
Oh man.
Well,
I
I'm
was
sure
like,
we'll
I
be
better
right.
click that sub button before I share this screen. Especially since I started by saying like, well, today we're only letting subs chat. You got to be subbed for 1 minute.
Oh yeah, that's I saw that.
Yeah. So does it say something in the chat that only subs can?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, if you
when you
try and
press the
chat,
button, it came up. Yeah.
yeah, if
Oh,
you try and chat, it says you have to be subscribed for 1 minute to chat.
oh, okay. All right. Because a lot of people seem to notice. So
I know semi-retired
It came
Bob.
up as a big notification when you press the button, Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, semi-retired Bob had the same thing, but you had to be subscribed for 5 minutes.
yeah, I was able to set it for. Well, I could do.
He's
custom
up to 10
time.
now.
I could do no time. I could do 1, 5, 10.
Yeah.
You could do, and then you could do. I mean, you could go anytime you want. So I just
I
clicked
guess
one minute.
that decreases trolls. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
last week we had some vegan police in the chat, and you know what? They weren't that bad. I mean, they were. We had they were some of them were making some saucy comments, but they gave us good content to discuss. I'm actually not afraid of
I actually
people
like
anti-carnivores
no.
chatting. I'll bring their
I
comments on the
love
screen, and I'll talk to them straight up and tell them
yeah.
how it is. So
I
it's
have
fine.
absolutely no problem if vegans come on, as long as they're not like, militant, angry, like, and unwilling to just talk. You know what I mean? But if
Right.
they want to give their opinion why they think that, our way of eating is not good, that's okay. I don't mind having a discussion.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, if vegans, if you're watching, you are welcome here.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to make comments. It just happens to be tonight. I thought I'd test this out. So you got to be subscribed.
Let me tell you something. I would much rather have a vegan or vegetarian come on, because at least they're thinking about their health. Do you know how many people out there just shove anything into their mouth, literally, like I used to? I mean, I would, whatever.
Oh, man.
I mean, I Pop-Tarts and all the chips and candy and muffins and you name it, man. I would eat it. Chocolate bars and donuts. I mean, so I would much rather somebody come on who at least is eating a whole foods, like healthy diet. And then if they are having some issues, health issues, maybe we could tell them listen, what if you added a little bit of meat in there with your vegetables and your fruit? Maybe we could get you a little healthier. You know what I mean?
Right. And that was the gist of last week's discussion was, if you're whatever reason you choose to be vegan, whether it's you're trying to better your health, whether it's because you have this compassion for animals, I'm completely cool with that, so if you go watch last week's video, I did say that, that thanks to modern technology, that kind of lifestyle is sustainable today.
Well, and I'm going to tell you something. We have more in common with vegetarians and vegans than people would think. We are very compassionate about animals.
Right.
I am. You're not going to find anybody, and I'm sure Jeff would agree with me on this, right, Jeff? That we love our animals, right?
Yes, sir.
We absolutely. I've got a dog. I've had cats.
Absolutely.
I've had all kind of animals, but I don't want the animal to suffer. But let me tell you how many millions and millions and millions of animals die in those fields where they're harvesting crops, and all the animals who used to be where those fields were that are extinct, that were slaughtered to make way for all that. I mean, think of all the birds that die from eating the pesticides from all that stuff they spray on that stuff. Something like, I forget, it's like hundreds of millions of birds or maybe more die every year from pesticide poisoning, and they don't die a clean death. It's a slow, painful, poisonous death.
But here's the real bear of the woods. These great chemical companies like Monsanto, I'm just using it because everybody knows that name.
Yeah.
They have figured out how to put the insecticide around the seed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's unregulated. They're not spraying it on the field. They're not pouring it on the field. They're not blowing it on the field. It's on the seed. Okay.
Right.
I forget what this one's called, but our testing capability now is through the roof. We can find parts per billion, or in even some cases parts per trillion. Well, this stuff hasn't been out there that long. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. It's only been around for about 10 years. But after 2 or 3 years, it was already in the drinking water in Colorado. It happened that fast.
Yeah.
And it's
And
the
just
same
think
way with
about
yeah.
And just think about it. If you're using just a few parts per billion or trillion to kill off all these things, think about that. You're eating that. Think about that for a second. You're putting that in your body, some incredibly strong agent that only a few parts per billion or trillion is killing all these insects and stuff, and yet we're gonna eat that stuff. I mean, it scares me to
They
think about
spray
that.
every grain. Oats and wheat are all harvested with Roundup now.
Yeah, glyphosate.
They spray the field with Roundup to kill the plant. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can find it on here. Just Google 47 products for Roundup. They went down the cereal aisle, picked out 47 different products and tested them. All came up positive for Roundup. Every single one.
Yep. Since
And
scary.
yeah. So, my hobbies before I became carnivore were bread and pizza making, okay, and ice cream making. Those are my 2 big hobbies.
Mine was
Anybody want an ice cream maker?
Mine was pizza eating.
Well, I got to
That was a
tell
big hobby
you,
of mine.
I made the pizza. I modified my Weber grill to a pizza oven, and I built a clay and straw oven, Adobe oven. I built one
see, I
to
never
cook
knew
my
that.
pizzas in.
I never knew until now how bad pizza is for you. The dough is loaded with seed oils and highly refined grains and glyphosate and all that. You got the sauce that is a lot of times does have seed oils,
Sugar.
sugar. You know what I mean? And also a lot of times the cheese they put on those pizza is kind of that processed cheese, that's also made with seed oils. Like the Kraft.
I didn't use any of that crap.
Huh?
Sorry.
I used to work at Papa John's. Pizza, and we
Yeah.
would make our own sauce, our trademark sauce.
Yeah.
We would take a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket or 6-gallon bucket. We would open up 5 1-gallon cans of tomato sauce, dump it in the bucket. Then there was a seasoning packet, which was the trademark seasoning. And then we would take a bag of sugar, slice that open, and dump the whole bag of sugar in, and then mix it up with a drill and like a concrete paddle, in the bucket. And
Yeah.
then we could, pull from that as necessary. So yeah, it had an entire bag of sugar in
Yeah.
the sauce, which you have natural occurring sugars from the tomato anyway, and that was their secret sauce. And that's probably why Papa John's Pizza in the area where I grew up in was a hit when it came into town. It was addicting and became the most popular place, probably because of all the sugar they put in it.
Yeah.
Feed that sugar addiction.
Feed the sugar addiction.
You're talking about the vegans, and they have this, not so much the vegetarians, but the vegans have this noble concept that they're saving the animals. And of course, you mentioned how many are actually killed in the farming process. What they fail to realize is it doesn't matter how you eat. For one thing to live, something else must die. That is the nature of things. That's just how it is. You can't avoid it. You can't get away from it. For you to live, something else must die. So if you want to be totally noble and not harm any other animals, you're going to have to self-eliminate. That's all you can do. Sorry, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, I did a bit of research the
that
other
makes
day.
me. That reminds me of one time we had a guest speaker at a Sunday service that we took out for lunch afterwards, and we went to a restaurant, and the wife had to get was looking for vegetarian options because she didn't eat meat. And I said, I just asked her, I was like, what is your reason? And she said, and I completely respect this. Okay. She said, I just don't feel like that something else has to die so that I should live, so that I can eat.
Wow.
Okay. And so I get it. That was her reasoning, and I completely respect that. But that is true. Like a plant is a living thing, and those plants had to die so she could eat. So,
Well, and it's not just that, but in raising the plants, something is going to die other than the plant.
Right.
You're going to have a sentient being that is going to be dead.
Whether it's a critter, rodent,
but it's not only the plants, guys. It's not only the plants that die. I mean, think of all the, I was talking to this guy who knows this farmer, and those big combines, you know what gets killed in all those combines? Baby deer.
Yes, I do.
Rabbits, snakes,
pheasants,
dogs, rats, mice.
Yep.
I mean, all kind of animals, murdered by the thousands. So you think that your broccoli, you think your broccoli doesn't have any blood on it? Let me tell you something. They have to they got to hose off the back of those combines, from all the blood and bone and guts from all what they tear up when they harvest. It's especially that last little section, because all the animals go to that last little, they all run, and they all are in that last little section, and that's where they all die. I'm just telling you, this stuff is, I hate to be morbid, but way more animals are dying from industrial farming than are ever killed when you do regenerative or even regular ranching.
Yeah, I did a bit of research recently on the word vegan. It didn't enter the language until 1944. Even
really?
though obviously the plant's only been around, but the Vegan Society was formed in 1944. So they say that we're on a fad diet, but I mean, what can be more fad than actually something which started, as recently as 44? I posted it somewhere, and the girl I mentioned earlier, Stephanie Taylor, she actually came back, and she knew that apparently the vitamin B12 was not available in tablet form as a supplement until about the same time, until the 1940s, which was kind of interesting. But again, the year 44 caught my eye because it was the very end of the Second World War, which meant that rationing was very much over here in the UK, and meat was very short of supply. So it was a lot easier to grow onions and potatoes in your garden than it was to grow piglets. So the shortage of meat, I think, may have been something to do with the term vegan. The guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy who actually did it, all he did was shorten vegetarian. The word vegetarian existed, but vegan didn't. So he just took out the middle of vegetarian and turned it into vegan. So yeah, it's a new word. It hasn't been around for a long time, which is I found very interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, interesting. A little history lesson there. So there were no vegans before 1944. There you go.
Not using that word. No
right. Not using that word. Yes.
Yeah.
Garuda Legend says, "I love liver. If it cooked properly as a stew, it is delicious." I highlighted that because I've never heard of liver in a stew before. That caught my eye. Is something that might be interesting. Then again, maybe I'm just weird, and maybe you are. Liver is one of those things that it's a coin toss for me. Either someone can prepare it and I absolutely love it, or someone can prepare it and I absolutely hate it. So but I've never had it as a stew. So that's interesting. Anybody ever have liver in a stew?
Yes,
Yeah.
look over here. Liver casserole, we call it here in the UK. Liver and onions in gravy, which is kind of a casserole, is a very, very popular dish in restaurants over here.
Yeah, so we have liver and
yeah,
onions.
yeah.
There's a
We have it.
restaurant down the
We
street.
have it in a casserole dish. They're not fried. They're actually well, they are
Really?
fried and then put into a casserole with a sauce and then slow cooked beyond that. So yeah, the same bloke, different hat, as we say over here in the UK.
I don't think
You're-
I've ever had. I've had fried, liver fried up, cooked up with onions or whatever. I didn't really particularly care for it that way. I don't know.
When I was years ago in I got to a point in my hunting where I wanted to start using more of the animals. So I knew my wife loved liver, so I started keeping the liver out of the deer. But the liver was so strong that even she didn't like it. And I tried it in stews, I tried it in chili, I tried it all different ways, and we just didn't care for it. So I would still save the livers, but I'd feed them to the dogs, and they had no problem with it. But once I learned how to make liverwurst, now I save the liver, the heart, the kidneys out of my cattle, my sheep, all that. But the deer, I've always been giving the organs to the dogs, and I thought, well, I learned how to make liverwurst and pate, and my wife just has fallen in love with it, and that's the only way she wants to eat the liver now. And so I thought, what the heck, I'm gonna try the deer liver and see how that works. And I'll be darned, it came out fantastic. So dogs don't get the liver anymore. I just make liverwurst out of it now. That's how we enjoy our liver.
If anybody's watching, then they can't stand liver. I can get this product at my local grocery store. It was less than this when I bought it. Maybe it's because the beef price has been going up. But this Force of Nature Ancestral Blend has ground beef liver, and beef heart in it, and you cannot tell it's in there also. So if you want to get the nutritional benefits that come with organs without having to taste them, get this product here and have it, once a week or once every other week or something like that, for that extra nutrition. It's absolutely delicious. So
Looks like it's about $10 a pound.
yeah, at least on Amazon right now. I think it was,
because you know what you could do? You could just take regular ground beef and you could just dice up some organs, some liver or whatnot, real tiny, and just mix it into your ground beef.
Yep.
And
there's a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why how it would taste so bad, really.
No, it'd be the same thing. It's just if you're lazy and you don't want to do that, or if the thought of touching and handling organs grosses you out, there's an option for you. And
yeah,
it's not a plug, not a sponsorship or nothing. I just thought it was really good.
I love you. You were telling me, Jeff, do you make liverwurst? I love liver. That's how I get my liver, is like liverwurst and Braunschweiger or whatever.
Right. I grew up there's a difference between liverwurst and Braunschweiger.
What's the difference?
How it's prepared, how it's cooked. One is smoked. Braunschweiger is smoked. Liverwurst is boiled.
See, I think I like the Braunschweiger even
Yeah.
better.
I grew up eating liverwurst and Braunschweiger, and it's the only way I liked liver when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
And so when I got a recipe for liverwurst, I went to town on it, and yeah, that's how we get our liver.
What else is in it? What else is in it other than liver?
A lot of non-carnivore stuff.
Okay.
There is some onion in it.
Well, that's okay.
And what I do is I cook the snot out of the liver. I mean, out of the onion. I cook it down till it's brown. So I'm getting as much of the sugar out of it as I can. And what else? It's pork belly, onion. What else? There's some garlic in there. Not a whole lot though. I can't remember. Oh, bacon. There's also bacon in there. So it's mostly carnivore except for the onion. My wife does like a little rosemary in hers. So, but you don't have to put that stuff in it. I've made it without the onions and it's okay. You don't notice it terribly bad in it, but it is good stuff. And I'll make about 2 pounds at a sitting, each time I cook it. And it's delicious stuff. And I eat it with my pork rinds.
Anybody here like kidneys?
Yes. I save the kidneys.
Yeah.
You bet. I save the kidneys. And now for me, the way I like to cook them is I will cook them. I'll baste them in a garlic butter over an open flame. I do a lot of outdoor cooking. I like cooking over a wood fire, or I like smoking my meats, with my pit smoker. But yeah, I do like the kidneys.
If someone's got a TV on,
when I grew up as a kid,
if someone's got a TV on, can you mute it?
When I grew up as a,
I hear that TV.
It's not here.
Can you please mute the TV if you got a TV on?
Is Peter watching
I hear it
TV?
too, but
Tain't me, because I ain't got no TV on.
Oh.
I got a fan going.
I don't even own a
Peter's-
TV.
Yeah,
Hold on a
Peter's
second.
muted himself and the TV's gone. So yeah, I think it's.
I just muted Pop Carnivore.
Oh right, okay, it was you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You can always unmute yourself when you come back. That's possible here. Okay. Yeah. I was reading the comments that someone heard background noise. I actually didn't even notice it. So I wanted to address that real quick.
When he first brought it up, I was afraid maybe it was the fans I got blowing on me. So I went and shut one of them off and moved the other one to a distance. But
here's a question probably targeted at George. He said, Coach Juliet Eden says, do Brits drink as much coffee as Americans? I always think of Brits as tea drinkers, but when I was in London, the coffee flowed freely.
Absolutely. Okay, so I saw this question come up, so I am prepared for it. Now, it's a generational thing. I'm 60. My parents and their parents, so they were very much tea drinkers. My mother may have had a coffee at 11 o'clock, 11s as we call it, but afternoon tea was a ritual. It really was a ritual. And my grandparents even more so. I don't think they ever drank coffee, to be honest with you. But I'm 60 and I am a coffee versus tea drinker. I used to drink a lot of tea, but people from my age downwards, really, we have switched much more to coffee. It's easier to deal with. To make proper tea is very complicated in the pot, but even just having a tea bag is still a bit complicated versus just having a teaspoonful of instant coffee. So yeah, it's coffee has definitely taken over as the number one drink. I mean, we got Starbucks and Costa coffee, and obviously people go to McDonald's and they get a coffee versus a tea. So yeah, I would say, Juliet, that the coffee has now taken over as the number one hot beverage here in the UK versus tea. Tea's still popular, but it's not the dominant force that it once was. So hopefully that answers your question.
Interesting. Yeah, I think of the reputation for tea as well. Here's a question for Paul. Bill asks, how long have you been carnivore?
I started 4 years ago, and I just kept reducing the carbs, and in 14 months, I got down to 0 carbs. I probably started out at 300 carbs, and just where I was at. It was my American diet. I was eating 300, what the diabetes educator said, yeah, you need to eat all these carbs, but I've never been more strict than I have been since this July 1st marked my beginning of my 5th year. I'm in year 5 now, I guess. Yeah. I've never been more strict in my entire life. I basically eat ground beef, and I buy the 80-20 and the 85-15. And I actually have a bought a breakfast sausage spice blend that didn't have any sugar in it, and I add that to my ground beef, my fattier ground beef. That's my breakfast sausage, if you will. If I want a breakfast sausage, that's how I make it. And I eat 4 eggs a day, and I have 3 cups of coffee a day, and butter. I put butter in my coffee. I have to avoid cheese because it's just packs of pounds on. I can't stop the scales when I eat cheese, and I can't stop eating cheese, so it just doesn't come in the home. And I'm trying to up right now. The biggest thing I'm doing is upping my exercise, and from a supplement standpoint, I do the D3 K2, I do the iodine, and I just started. I guess yesterday, Sunday was my first day on methylene blue, and I'm really kind of crossing my fingers and hoping that may be a magic bullet for me. I'm just hoping. I don't know. And unfortunately, I was on a lot of the wrong medications, wrong insulin regimes, and my body doesn't. I've had 1 or 2 people tell me over the course of 30 years that you don't seem to be a type 1 or 2, and so I just got a letter from my doctor today, digital letter, and all my files have been gone to the endocrinologist. I'm going to talk to an endocrinologist. I just want to know what I am. I think I'm 1.5 LADA, and at least that's what I am right now, I think. Will the pancreas ever come back? I don't know. My C-peptide is borderline at the bottom of the shelf. You know, if they say it's supposed to be between 1 and 4, I'm a 1. And your C-peptide values, from what I can tell, will vary just like your cholesterol numbers will vary. They don't vary a lot, but I've had lower and I've had higher C-peptide scores. So I just, but my insulin usage is coming down every day. Well, I say every day. You know, the Libra they quit making the 2 and the 3. Now it's the 2 plus and 3 plus, and you have to use a new app. And some of the data that used to be there isn't there anymore. So in this last month, I've had to change I have to change how I look at my data and how I make my decisions on how much less insulin to take. So now I'm predominantly looking at my weight. I call it the wave pattern. It kind of gives you an indication of your daily pattern over 7 days, 14 days, or 30 days. And I can see, ooh, look at that time of day. I'm a little high. So maybe I'll take that insulin 2 hours earlier or 2 hours later. And ooh, look how low my numbers are getting. I can take a couple more units off that one particular insulin. And so it's doctors don't like me. I self-medicate, but I know how to. But anybody who's a type 1 diabetic, they self-medicate all the time. They're always calculating their carbs and figuring out their insulin. They do it every day. I do the same thing, but I just my doctor wants me to eat carbs if my blood sugar goes low. To keep my blood sugar from going low, I take less insulin. And if my blood sugar goes high, I try to exercise. I can stop some high blood sugar in its tracks with just exercise. Not every day, but 2 out of 3 days, I can stop my blood sugar from going high just with exercise, and not a lot. I stand at the kitchen sink and I go up on my toes, hold it for 2 seconds, bring it back down. I can do 100 of those in a row now. I do 300 a day. And sometimes it really wears my legs out. I'll have to take the next day off. But man, the next day I may have a blood sugar of 55 all day long. And 55 doesn't bother me. My blood sugar can go down to 40. I can still give you my phone number, rank, and serial number, and social security number, and all that jazz. I have a clear mind all the way down to 40.
Wow.
But if you're using a CGM, because of the risk to the company from being sued, okay, their numbers are not on spot. That's why they're off by 12.5% in general. So if my my CGM says 100, I do a finger stick, which is more accurate, more closer to the truth. It's going to be 112. They're off by 12%. So when I'm 60, I'm really not 60. I'm about 66, 65, 66. I'm somewhere around there, 67. When I'm 40, I'm really not 40. I'm about 45, 46. And that's by design. That's the way they do it. They skew those numbers so you don't go low, get yourself in trouble. 30,000 people a year are go to the hospital for low blood sugar. They're in a coma. They're passed out. I didn't know it was that many people, but it happens that much.
Wow.
And when I didn't know what I was doing, I was on the wrong insulin engine. I would take a little pack of crackers and I would just eat it right through the plastic. I didn't bother to open it. Same way with M&Ms. I just bite, or candy bar. I would just bite right through the wrapper. I couldn't wait. And then the question is it a treat or is it a treatment? And remember, the Snickers bar has more nutrition in it than a banana. There's less sugar in a Snickers bar than there is in a banana.
That's why Snickers satisfies. No, I'm just kidding. That's their motto.
I ate all that crap. When I had a candy bar, I didn't have one candy bar. I had 2 or 3. Okay?
Yeah.
That was my life. And I was diagnosed with diabetes. I guess I was like 35. It was there when I was 22. As far as the insulin goes, okay? Where my insulin level was, I was already on the road. Okay? And I've been around the hospital now for the last couple of weeks quite a bit. And it breaks my heart. I feel so bad for some of these people. I mean, they're just, gigantic. There was a woman there today. Her arms, her triceps, okay? Her upper arms were bigger than mine. I got pretty good sized thighs, okay? They're bigger than my thighs. Okay?
Yeah,
they were huge.
I work at a retail store, and I go to Walmart quite a bit, and it's sad. You pair up the food in the cart to the person who's pushing it, and it's really, you can just see, the people that are, have all the crap in the carts. They're huge. They're just, it's very sad. They're so sick, and when I go over to like a Sprouts or Whole Foods, and you see someone pushing around a cart with just some fruits and vegetables and, more healthy stuff, they usually look pretty good. I mean, I know a lot of them are probably vegans and vegetarians or just, healthy whole food people like me, pretty much. But there is a direct correlation. The people who are, trying to eat, they have a thought process, of, even if it's fruits and vegetables, guys, at least they're trying, you know what I mean? But you see people putting just all the crap in the cart, the sugary sodas and cereal and, the ding dongs and the donuts and the big loaves of bread and just the candy and crap and the big bags of crisps, or chips. What we call them chips, you call them crisps, right, George? It's very sad. And, but they're,
my mother baked all it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think a
It's
lot of it is education. A lot of these people, they don't know. They just don't know what, what I mean? They don't know that this food is literally killing
my
them.
doctor told me that fiber is good for me. That my doctor told me I'm doing all the right things. My doctor agreed. My doctor said, and I'm doing it. My doctor said, and I've heard that so many times. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
I
just
mean, when I tell
blows
you
my
this,
mind.
Become famous at the local supermarket for their trolley because all the staff at I shop at Aldi, and there's one girl in particular called Magda who's about my age and she's Eastern European, and she says, "Oh, it's you, George. I can always tell because there's nothing but meat in your trolley or on the." So
Or,
I've become
and
a bit well known in my local supermarket for being a carnivore.
it's funny. I go to Aldi, and my cart is meat, eggs, butter, heavy cream, and bacon. That's literally what I walk out of Aldi with.
Well,
You know what I mean? And it's so funny to watch the look on the guy's face. Like I'll put my stuff up on the little conveyor belt, and the person in front of me's got all this crap. Then I come along with my just few things, right? And it's the same guy. There's a couple people that work at the store, and he said, "Oh, it's the meat man again."
Yeah. I mean, for me, the great thing about it is I've known Magda for about 10 years because she's been serving me. So she saw me go from 293 pounds to 173 pounds whilst only buying meat. So she believes in carnivore now. So because I'm the living proof to her, because she's seen me buy only meat and she's watched my health improve. So that's one way of getting the message out there, guys. It really is.
That's the best way of getting it out, is being a good example.
Yeah, I went up to the meat counter, the meat trough. We just throw it all in that big refrigerated thing, and there was a lady there digging through the meat, and I looked at her cart. She only had like 2 things of meat in there, and nothing else, and I says, "Hey," I said, "You know semi-retired Bob?" She goes, "Yeah, do you?" I go, "Yeah." and we had a half-hour conversation of just carnivore.
Well, I'll tell you this: the minute I stopped, Paul, listening to my doctor, who was telling me, everything he told me, every single thing, every doctor's, and I had an army of doctors. I had a psychiatrist for my mental stuff. I had an endocrinologist. I had them all, and so as minute I stopped listening to them and I started listening to the good doctors, the carnivore doctors, everything completely got healed. Within a year, I was pretty much cured.
But they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Their paycheck depends on them meeting that standard of care. They have to prescribe that statin or they're going to get written up. Okay. And there's very few independent doctors that just hang their shingle out and got a little office someplace in the bottom of their house. Those days are long gone by. It was 1961. Okay. Those guys are gone. Now it's just they all work for somebody. And you look at Ken Berry, okay? Thank God he's got a great YouTube channel that's generating him, I would imagine, 10, 20 grand a month anyhow, at least. Okay? Thank God he has that and he can devote his time. He doesn't have to worry about seeing 40 patients a day, okay? The same way with, Matt Baker, he's set up that telemedicine thing. There are 15,000 patients behind the 8 ball. 15,000 patients behind the 8 ball. There's 15,000 people waiting to talk to his doctors. 15,000 are waiting. Boy, I'd like to have the hot dog stand next to that thing.
Last time I checked, Ken Berry had 3.5 million subscribers on his YouTube. So there we go.
So he's got 3.5 million subscribers, and his videos he's making good on advertising revenue. He's got super chats out the wazoo on Monday nights because it's so busy. He'll have 5,000 people watching his Monday Night Live that the only way he's gonna see your comment is if you send him a super chat. So he does really well there, and he does that twice a week. By the way, he'll do another live later in the week. And then he's got his private community, which I believe has over 5,000 members.
When I left there a couple years ago, it was 8,000. It was 8,000.
If he's got 8,000 members, well, you still, I mean, I think that what's the minimum of there is $5 a month, and it goes up to $30 or $50 for the different tiers.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
that's a very toxic group. If you are on any pharmaceutical medication, you're supporting big pharma, and you're dirt. You're no good. I mean, that's a rough crowd over there.
That's not my experience. I'm
That was
actually
my
a paying
experience.
member.
That was my experience.
I'm
You
a
take
paying member
insulin,
in
you're
this
supporting big
community.
pharma. You're no good.
And,
That's what I
he's a
was told.
doctor. He's a doctor, so he'll even recommend medications from time to time.
Not him. His group. His group.
So,
His group.
The carnivore
people-
police. We're back to the carnivore
I mean-
police again, aren't we, guys?
yeah.
I don't worry about it. I mean,
those would be the carnivore police that we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're in the carnivore groups.
I still have to take some prescription medications. So
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
what it is. So
without insulin, I'll be having my legs cut off.
yeah.
I'll take care of the veins, I guess.
I just haven't got time to follow the doctors anymore because I started off following the doctors, but we've got so many friends now who are producing that I just haven't got the time. The only doctors I follow are the KMT doctors, Doctors Kiltz and Nelson Vasquez, because basically I just do no longer have time to follow Anthony Chafee or Tony Hampton or Ken Berry.
Yeah.
Because all my friends are now producing content, so I've got to try and keep up with that. I just haven't got. There isn't enough hours in the day anymore to keep up with the carnivore content.
Well, you make a good point, because what you have to do, this is my belief, you have to put your thinking cap on, okay? And it's just like when I look at a graph on my CGM, I have to put my thinking cap on and say, okay, where's my blood sugar going up? What's happening then? Okay? Or, geez, why am I feeling this way? I make my own electrolytes, and for a while, almost a year, I quit making it. I didn't take it, and I wasn't feeling that great. I got to get back into it. I wasn't sure why, but I just had a hunch. Well, man, I like making my own because I can I find I need a little more potassium, a little less magnesium, and so I started drinking, 1 16-ounce thing of everything, all my electrolytes. And oh my God, a lot of things got better really quick. Now, I don't know what my blood work looked like. I don't know what my potassium, magnesium, and all that stuff was in my blood work. I don't know what it was. But I was middle of the road on everything on my last blood test a month ago, okay? Everything was like right smack in the middle. Sodium, everything. And it's just, we're mammals, okay? And so are the cows, the pigs, and the deer, okay? And they need the same minerals and micronutrients that we need, they also need, for the most part, okay? If they don't get them, they'll get very sick. You'll go on the internet, and you used to have to go to the library to do this, but go on the internet and look up diseases in goats or sheep if they don't get enough magnesium or potassium. It is some really gross looking stuff in severe cases. They're not going to thrive. You're going to have bad animals.
Yeah, I mean one of the
And when I was a kid,
one of the best places to shoot a deer is at the salt lick, isn't it? Because they're going to go to the salt licks, so that's a good place to actually wait for them.
Yeah. And when I was growing up as a kid, my uncles and a lot of the farmers all around us, they all butchered their meat. And a common practice on the dairies then was you had a heifer who hadn't been pregnant yet, right? So they would mate her with a Angus. It was artificial insemination. She'd get an Angus daddy. So the calf would be a little on the small side. So with male or female, we would take that calf and raise it for beef. And it was pretty damn good beef. But we always slaughtered it like a year, just a little over a year, maybe a year and a few months, 15 months, we slaughter it. And we always, I can remember the dogs lining up. The liver, the kidney, all that stuff went to the dogs. All of it. And I had an uncle who he was a firm believer. You don't eat liver. You're taking away from the dog, and that's cruel. That dog needs it more than you do. That was his. He was a little whatever, But I've never had liver, except for one, turkey liver, and that just comes from an old traditional family recipe. My mother would grind the liver in the blender. She'd liquefy it. Go in a cast iron frying pan with 2 sticks of butter. You couldn't find a liver even in that.
Yeah, the Arctic explorer Wilhelm Stefansson, when he was living with the Inuit, he said that the liver was dog food for their dogs. They didn't used to eat the organ meat, so they only ate the blubber and the flesh. So yeah, he was a guy who didn't necessarily believe in eating organ meat. So just interesting.
Yeah, they and my uncle, some of my uncles, they were quite good with the carving knife in the meat locker. They were quite the cutters.
Yeah.
And
has anybody here ever watched a pack of killer whales, the orcas, kill a great white shark on TV? Because they actually kill sharks, and the only thing that they eat from that great white shark is the liver. They leave the carcass. They don't eat the flesh. So it's interesting.
Some of the bears in the Canadian American Northwest, they strip the skin off the salmon, only eat the skin.
Okay.
That's where all the fat is. And they toss the rest of the fish. They just leave it on the bank. The fox and the eagle and everything else comes along and eats the meat. But they just strip the skin off and eat it. And they're very good at it. That's why they get so big and fat.
Exactly. Yeah, they're looking for the fat. Yeah.
They're looking for the fat. Polar bear just, sucks the blubber right out of the seal.
Yeah.
They're whole different animals,
I mean, bears themselves are paleo, aren't they? Because they eat all the fruit in the autumn, which is part of the paleo diet, which is you eat the seasonal fruit. So bears are kind of paleo, I suppose, really, when you think about it.
But based on, if you're a hunter and you go out hunting, I can remember going out hunting with my dad, and the thing I was always looking for was apple trees, okay?
Yeah.
You found an apple that froze and thawed, and naturally dried on the tree. And it may have a worm in one half of it, but you take your pocket knife out and you cut away, and oh my God, it was like eating candy. God, it was delicious. But sometimes you go hunting and there was no apple trees around. So, in some areas, the deer are thriving on apples. In other places, there are no apples. But they got beech nuts or whatever they got, and it's just, there's a guy down in the Carolinas, he's got, a couple thousand of acres, and he runs a hunting preserve. A lot of those people come in to hunt, but you must give him one of the tenderloins off the back of the deer. That's what you pay. Okay. And so I worked with this guy, and every Christmas, he would just cook deer tenderloins. One of those giant coolers full of tenderloins all marinating in Dale sauce for 24 hours. It was the best meat I ever had in my life. It was first or second best meat I ever had in my life. And, but when you look at the whole carnivore thing, like Bart K says, and this happened to my brother-in-law. He was vegetarian, and he was a get-in-your-face vegetarian, okay? I don't eat meat. Don't try to sneak it in. He was like that, okay? And one day, he found himself in the back of an ambulance going to the hospital. The doctor said, you need beef. You need beef 3 times a week, minimum. 5 ounces 3 times a week, minimum. And that was the end of his carnivore career, or the end of his vegetarian career. And I'm the one that got the phone call. What are you eating? How do you do this? Now my grandson, 11 years old, his parents aren't concerned, but they're kind of surprised. And he's a very headstrong individual, very competitive, very headstrong. And he thinks he's going to win more at whatever he does by being carnivore. He's gotten this from
It
Yeah.
may give him an edge.
And well, we don't know what Barkay did with the All Blacks, do we?
Yeah, we do. Believe me, we do. I asked him
Oh, do
myself.
we?
Yeah, no, I actually asked him in chat, and he said, "I said, were they carnivore?" And he said some of them were, yes. And I know that Sonny Bill Williams and Quade Cooper were. I think they all were, but he can't say that because some of them have got contracts, advertising contracts with these energy drinks and that sort of thing. So he couldn't say yes, they were all, but he said some of them were. Yes, he put them on carnivore, and they were awesome in 2015. I won quite a lot of money by betting on them in 2015. So I didn't know who Barkay was at the time. Had no idea they were carnivore. I just knew they were very good. Yeah, they were mostly carnivore.
I've heard a rumor that he's consulted with Aaron Rodgers. I heard it from a professional sport. American football, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a sport I know well. Not since the days of the fridge in Chicago and Dan Marino in the Miami Dolphins. That was the last time I think I remember.
That goes back a ways.
Oh, God. I remember when I was a kid in high school. I remember it was 1972, fall of 72. And the New York Jet court, Nathan, right? John, yeah, Nathan. No, what was his name?
Namath. Joe Namath.
Namath. So Namath fell back leg, right? Step back, drag his leg, step back, drag his leg. Do that about 5 times. Then pure arm strength. Throw the ball 80, 90 yards down the field. I couldn't believe it. I sat there and said, how do you get that strong? How do you do that, And he threw passes for 83, 94, and 97 yards in one game. And most of that was in the air. Wasn't like the guy caught the ball wide open and ran 40, 50 yards. No. He threw the ball 60, 70, 80 yards. I thought, oh, my God. And the guy was a stud. It's just, from the upper body, he was just a stud. And I have had the fortunate, I worked for Spalding Sports Worldwide. And I've met a lot of pro athletes and have had some interesting moments with these guys. And it's just, it's an amazing world out there. And when you get to know some of these guys you're in a test range all day long hitting golf balls, and it's kind of amazing what you learn. And Johnny Miller, one of the nicest guys I ever met in my life. Nice guy. And work, man, what a work ethic, guys. Woo. And Buzzy Zeller, oh man, just a beautiful person, and all those guys are just amazing. And some of them are real stink pots. And there was that one guy from Australia, he choked a lot. And our senior VP went after him one time. The guy was 75 years old. He started going across the table to grab this guy because they were arguing over compensation, and he says, damn, you've choked 5 times in a row this year. And you want us to pay $1 million to wear the shirt? No. And crazy stuff.
Are we talking golf there, Paul?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, was
Australian golfer. I didn't want to say his name.
Adam Scott, I think his name wasn't it? Scott the bottler, because he used to lose his bottle. It was I can name him because my friend used to bet on him, and he used to always look like he was going to win, but he would always lose his bottle at the last minute. So anyway, that's a different story.
So we're coming up on 10 o'clock here, so I just wanted to say that.
Oh my God!
30 to 30
time to go to bed.
Still watching.
300 hours here. So if I'm still up, then you guys should be.
Yeah. So anyway, I usually every 30 to 60 minutes, I just want to remind everyone that this is a open table discussion with room for 10. And so if you would like to join us on screen and talk face to face, tell your story, ask questions, get some answers. You're more than welcome to click the link. I forgot to pin it earlier, so it's now pinned at the top of the chat. Join us. We'll be probably winding this down, between now and 10:30. And so now's your chance to join us on screen. And we also want to take a moment to go back over to the chat. I just wanted to highlight a few comments. I've been putting them on the screen as the night went on, so I didn't get too far behind. I did star a couple here. So this one here, Bill Cook 411 says, I could use 12 more subs to be able to go live. And I had posted his link in the chat, and I'm going to do it again, because what we always want to do is support each other in our small YouTube channels, especially as we're starting to make videos and trying to lift off the ground. Being able to go live is pretty cool. So, and it doesn't take a lot. So if you could go over to Bill's channel, click that link, and subscribe to him so he can get those privileges opened up, that would be fantastic. And George Goodenough has a channel. We shared that earlier as well. If you have channels that you would like to plug, best way to do it is join us on screen, of course, and tell us about your channel. But go ahead and tell me about it. I'll make sure that we plug that as well. Speaking of channels that are worthy of a subscription, Charger Mopar Rick is in the chat, and he made the comment that liver is tasty but too expensive now. And my local Dumas, you can get liver for cheap. I mean, it's like $1 something a pound, and for the powerhouse of nutrients you get with it is remarkably cheap. And probably because it's not popular over here, so they got to actually almost pay you to take it off of their hands. So liver in this area is pretty cheap. But anyway, Charger Mopar, that's his channel. Let me go get a link for that one.
Yeah, Rick does legendary 8-hour live shows on every Saturday. I'm very busy in the horse racing world on Saturday, so I can't support him. But yeah, I've noticed that when I get the replays, it's like 8 hours long. He's so fair play to him. I do occasionally drop in and say hello, but that's like I can't devote 8 hours on a Saturday to
Rick. He starts at 8 a.m. and sometimes it'll go all day long. Exactly, and same thing here. I'll pop in when I wake up. Usually I have some work to do on Saturday morning, so I'll pop in and listen while I'm driving. Go do my business meeting, and then on my way home I pop in and I listen again, and it's like so his channel on a Saturday morning is it kind of has that talk radio vibe. If you have a local talk radio station, that's exactly what listening to Rick is like on a Saturday. So go subscribe to him. He talks about all kinds of subjects. Very knowledgeable guy, easy listening. So, and then Garuda Legends made an interesting comment here. Ken Berry is pro-vegan. Kinda. We'll qualify that in a minute. I do not watch his vids. Vegans want to make eating meat illegal or sell you a fake lab cancer meat. Okay, so the vegans definitely want to make eating meat illegal and want you to buy lab-grown meat, which is absolutely disgusting. That part is true. Is Ken Berry pro-vegan? So he has his proper human diet spectrum. He believes that humans are low carbohydrate mammal that should be eating anywhere between 0 carbohydrates a day up to 100, depending on your DNA, and where your ancestry comes from may come into play there. He gives a perfect example with him and his wife. He is carnivore most of the time, because if he so much as catches a whiff of a carb, he puts on weight. But then his heritage comes from more northern areas where agriculture was not the norm and hunting is what people thrived on. Now his wife Nisha, on the other hand, comes from cultures that were around the equator, for thousands of years, where they're used to having carbohydrates in their diet quite regularly. So she's keto/ketovore, and so she can tolerate a little more. And of course, their kids are just kids, so they'll let them have some fruits and stuff as a treat once
Bonnie
in a while.
Blue, absolutely, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, So he does truly believe in single ingredient whole foods that nature provides. He will give credit to vegans where credit is due, and we did that too last week. If you were watching our live last week, and that is vegans, like Papa Carnivore, Peter said earlier. At least they're thinking about their diet. Whether they are making that choice because it's for compassion for animals or because they are trying to improve their health by eliminating the standard American Western processed junk, you got to give them credit. You got to give a vegan credit for trying, okay? And like we talked about last week, because of modern technology, and what I mean by that, I mean supplements, okay? A person can live their life as a vegan today, whereas they couldn't have done that thousands of years ago. So if someone makes that choice, that is completely their choice. On this channel, yes, carnivore-centric diets. We believe in the healing benefits and the nutritional value of meat, and we think it should make up the bulk of one's diet, but we're not anti-plant by any means, and we're certainly not anti-vegan. And so if you don't like hearing that, then maybe you don't like our channel either. I don't know. But I just wanted to set that straight. I wouldn't say that he is pro-vegan, but he is a respectful human being that's not going to shame someone for being vegan. And I'm not going to.
He is pro health through nutrition.
Right. That's a good
food.
way to word it. Yeah.
And if that means that your best route is going to be veganism, vegetarianism, keto, ketovore, whatever, that's what he's pro for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as long as I got the floor, I'm going to buy out.
Okay.
I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
All right,
y'all have a good evening. I'll watch the end of this tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Good night, Jeff. Thanks for joining.
Good night, Jeff.
All right.
Thank you. Good night, y'all.
So,
cheers.
All right. I told you this would wind down right about now.
Yeah, no worries. I said that it's gone 3 o'clock in the morning over here, and I'm still standing. I'm holding the Union Jack proudly on our behalf. So there we go.
You haven't fallen asleep. That's good.
No, not this week. It was last week. Right. I had to get up very early last week, I think, for some reason. And I had to take my wife to the hospital. That's the reason why. So yeah, but come 2 o'clock, I was just gone last week. But I had that afternoon sleep today, so I'm okay now.
All right. Thank you for your kind comments, Jamette. And I see that Helen's in the house, all for Jesus Carnivore. Yeah. Good to see you here. Yeah. And yeah, Rick's 10 hours. I can't remember what his record was. Maybe if he's still in the chat, maybe let us know.
12 something, I think.
9, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Yeah. And yes, thank you for subscribing to Bill. Go subscribe to George too. I could look him up again and share his again one more time. And
yeah, I'm a one take wonder at the moment. I can only do things. I can't edit or anything. I can't pause. So everything I do is one take. And the other person who's brilliant at that is Lynn Tucker, Carnivore. I think she and I are the greatest one take wonders out there. She never ever pauses, edits or anything, and she can do 20 minutes straight as well. So hats off to Lynn. She's a very good friend of mine, is Lynn. So hats off to her. I use
DaVinci Resolve. It's free to do my edits, and most of my edits are just cuts. Just like cut. If I have a brain freeze or I got to glance at my notes or something, I just slip in a little cut right there so it tries to go unnoticed. I also try and cut out my uhs and my ums, something I don't get to do live. You have to listen to me say and all night long because I can't cut those out.
As I said, in a few hours' time, I've got a lesson with Stephanie Taylor, the Happy Sexy Health. So I trust her. So hopefully, she's going to teach me some of the tricks of the trade on StreamYard. I actually managed to send her a StreamYard link tonight. I'm really proud of myself. That's the first time ever I sent a StreamYard link, and she got it, and she was very proud of me. So there we go. Very nice. Bill says I've gotten naps in Rick's lives. That's funny. What's funny is I was in was it the Kilch's coaching class or a Monday night Zoom? I think it was a Monday night Zoom I attended, and I had my camera on. And I was sitting here like this, and I dozed off. You're not the only one, Bob. Actually, when I came back from Wyoming, I had jet lag cap on, and my head was like that. And Bill actually picked me up in the commentary. He said, "Cheers, mate."
I woke up and then I started reading the comments, and they're like, "Yeah, Bob's passed out." And I guess I was here like on camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Linda. Good to see you. Glad you could join us. And Bill Cook says keto, and this maybe Dr. Nelson said this originally. Keto is the gateway diet to carnivore. Yeah, I think keto is a great stepping stone to carnivore.
Yeah, the thing is that I totally agree. I
recommend it. That's the way I went. I went low carb, then keto, then ketovore, then carnivore. So I eased my way into it.
Well, when I started, I'd never heard of carnivore, because what started me is that a nurse told me that I had diabetes and morbid obesity, and a nurse told me that all carbs are sugar, the carnivore. So I went away, found out that was the truth. So I cut the carbs, didn't call it keto, didn't call it carnivore. I learned about keto from a guy at work, and I didn't learn about carnivore until 6 months later when I found it on YouTube. And I'll tell you the video. It was Dr. Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan, Woman Eats Only Meat for 13 years. That was the first time ever I'd heard of carnivore. So yeah, I actually started this journey not with carnivore in mind, but just for getting rid of type 2 diabetes through what we now know as therapeutic carbohydrate restriction. That's which in the class, as you know. So yeah, that's how I started out on just TCR to get rid of diabetes, and eventually I found my way to carnivore, and then eventually I found the carnivore community, and eventually I'm here at a proud member of the carnivore community. It's great fun.
Very nice. Yes. All right. Okay. So our friends in the chat, we still got 34 of you here. We got, oh, wow. We got 5 on X. Usually every time I look at this, I have 0 on X. Yeah. So yeah, we got 5 viewers over on X. 26.
It's probably vegans, because they know they can't comment on YouTube now. So they've all gone across there so they can comment.
Yeah. And I was wondering, do the X comments come across? I think X comments can come in, or do my comments not go back out to X? I think that's what he can't. Here we can't hear this. Can't post to some destinations. Yeah, so I can read X comments, but I can't. Anything I type in the chat won't actually get sent to X. Okay, so all right. So if you're a militant vegan over watching on X, you actually can make a comment. If you're on Facebook, you can make a comment. If you're on YouTube tonight, you have to be subbed, because I went ahead and turned that on because I never knew about it before. Someone told me about it. I want to see how it worked. So, but yeah, this is a last call. Last call. Anybody in the comments? Any last questions or things you want to say? Anybody want to jump on screen? Yeah, just a few more minutes to click that link that's on the top. But we're going to call it a day. So it's 3 a.m. where you're at, George. Are you?
Yeah, it is.
Is it your intent to go to bed as soon as we're done?
Not quite as soon, because obviously I've got to wind down a bit. Okay. This is my working day, so you need to chill just for.
Oh, you froze.
I've got to be up.
He's froze up for me. Did he freeze up for you guys too?
You bet you're back, yeah. And then I'll probably have another sleep in the afternoon for 2 or 3 hours, and then get ready for another marathon session tomorrow night, because obviously we have the Russ Michelon Keto Cookout. Won't finish till 2:30. It's a kind of Tuesday night's party night, because Target Prime Rib Thomas, I think, kicks off about 9 o'clock. Then I've got Healing. I'm a member of Healing Humanity Life, so I think we have a call which takes us through to midnight. Then I get an hour and a half to catch up on some of the pre-recorded YouTube, and then it's on with Russ on Keto Cookout, and often Rick as well, at 1:30 in the morning my time. So yeah, Monday nights and Tuesday nights are my really late nights. things die off. Has anybody else out there noticed that Fridays are the quietest time in our world? None of my friends from America or the UK seem to do many lives on a Friday night. So Friday night is kind of my night off. And I spend I go out for the day with my wife and then have an early night on Fridays. So that's, Does anybody else, I'm just asking the questions to the audience. Anybody else notice that Friday is quiet when it comes to lives in our world? Just interested.
I thought Steak and Butter Gal and Todd Bachnes and them did a Friday night one.
It's entirely possible, but I don't think I'm sub to either of those two. So that would be the reason why I think it's quiet. Yeah, I really should be married. I should be sub to Steak and Butter Gal because I'm mates with Tyler McCann, and she got married at Tyler's house last year at the Ribs and Beef Roundup. So yeah, I should really be sub to Bella. Perhaps I will go and try and find her. Really, that's feel a bit guilty about that now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, okay. I just went to look at the channel. There was a stream 3 days ago, but it was an interview with Dr. Ovadia.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. There used to be, her. So yeah, you see her, and there's a group, Todd Bachnes, and I think it's people in her community. So I'm not in the Steak and Butter. I'm not in the Steak and Butter community.
Carnivore Cure, isn't he? I think is he the Carnivore
Todd
Cure?
Bachnes is Carnivore Cure. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned that you're in healinghumanity.life. What's that like on the inside? So,
brilliant. I pay $30 a month. You get my favorite one is the Inspire Together call on a Thursday night, because that's basically just having a chat. Kerry, Adam, and Linda Vokey, and we all just that is literally there's no guest speak. We are the guests because we say this what we've been up to this week. You get a very good guest speaker on a Tuesday. I think I get so confused because it's just there's so much going on all the time. I think there's a Dante Ferrigno session on a Sunday, but that is a very inconvenient time for me, so I haven't attended that one yet. But no, the most important one for me is Tuesday night. The Tuesday night special visit. We had Professor Thomas Seyfried on back along, and both, as you know, my great friend Stephanie is a stage 4 ovarian cancer sufferer, and my wife is a breast cancer sufferer. So having Stephanie was on there that night, and so being able to talk to Professor Thomas Seyfried for $30 a month was just incredible. And then, of course, it's great to be able to chat with Kerry and the Healing Humanity team on a Thursday night. And there's various other benefits you get from it as well. I think Amy Hosp does one sometimes at a steakhouse on a Saturday night. I've been on with her. Yeah, so I think for $30 a month, it's pretty good. But the only problem there is that I committed to that. And, of course, as we know, Dr. Kiltz has now decided that he's going to go down a similar route. I can't justify 2 subscriptions. So I'm already with Healing Humanity Life, so I'm just going to stay on the free subscription with the Kiltz team on Monday nights. So yeah, I'm kind of, I'm disappointed, but I've got to be realistic. I mean, I've got no income at the moment because I gave up the day. Well, sorry, no, I do have a very small army pension. I gave up the day job so I could go full-time carnivore. I'm trying to build a media career, event organisation, bit of tourism. I've got various skills. I'm also a qualified English teacher. I can translate from 3 languages into English. So I'm just trying to build up an online profile and various things. As you know, we've got the carnival coaching as well. So I've got several strings in my bow. If I don't succeed, I'm going to have to go back to directing traffic on building sites or construction sites after Christmas. But I'm giving myself a good go at it. 3 months. I don't think I'm going to find one stream of income which will be a full time. I'm hoping to pick up a bit of journalistic work. Oh, I'm also kind of an expert in the thoroughbred horse racing world as well, and I'm working for a local stable. But again, he's just launched himself, so he can't afford to pay me yet. Though he did tell me the other day that he hopes to be able to pay me in 12 months' time. So yeah, I don't know which. And I'm organising events in the carnivore world, but by doing that, I'm getting some really good contacts, really good venues, and I've got an excellent caterer. So I'm thinking maybe I can go away from carnivore into christenings, weddings, conferences, because I've got everything in place. So yeah, just watch this space. I'll probably end up doing something totally different from anything I've just mentioned. But yeah, I've got the carnivore hope, shall we say? You know, I believe that anything is possible on carnivore.
All right. Well, I hope those endeavors really work out for you. Yeah. So one of the big features of Healing Humanity to Life is Thursday nights. Thursday nights are a no-go for me. I have other obligations. And so when we talk about kilts and some of the new membership tiers he's starting to offer, I paying for the premium one where you have Thursday night meetings would be a no-go for me. So I thought about doing the $10 a month one, which they're offering at half off. You know,
it's Tuesday, Tuesday.
Yeah, right now, but that's a Tuesday night thing, and it depends on what time Tuesday night, because like, you know, I'm happy that my wife is okay with me doing this on a Monday night, but if I'm always if she comes home from work and I'm always up here in my office on the video calls, she's not going to be happy.
Exactly. No.
So I don't know what time they plan on doing that on Tuesday.
Hey, Bob, I'll tell you what is really ironic, and that is that I'm not actually going to be joining either any of the pay, and yet I'm a guest on the October 28th with Dr. Nelson on one of the paid things. I'm actually his guest speaker that night. So that's kind of, to me, I can see the irony there, the fact that I can't actually afford to go and pay for a channel which I'm going to be a guest speaker on. So anyway, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. So I have to find out, like, if they do their calls at 5 o'clock, then I could do it, because my wife doesn't get home till like 6:30, you know.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be later, I'm a member of so I'm in Kils's group. I've got my own group. I'm in Kils's group, and then I'm in Dr. Barry's group. And I find great value in Dr. Barry's group, but you know, his Zoom calls are on Wednesday nights, and again, you know, it's a lot of times, you know, the wife comes home and she wants to do something, so I have to have a really pressing need to talk to Dr. Barry in order to attend that Zoom. So
yeah, exactly. I think isn't it the Monday night kilts call? I think that's 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, isn't it? 5:30 ET.
Yes. Yeah, 5:30. Yeah. And that's the free one. That's the free tier.
Yeah, that's a free one. Yeah, I will be in on that one every week, no question. But as I said, I just cannot justify the expense. I mean, I think you know DC, don't you, over in Australia?
Nah, DC doesn't ring a bell.
DC Rebuilding. He's an Australian guy. Got an amazing cancer recovery. DC Rebuilding. Look him up. I'm sure you recognise him because he gets everywhere as well. But I'm a member of his Patreon channel. So I spend $30 a month on Kerry's mob, and probably $5 a month on DC. So that's $35 straight away. And I can't really justify. I actually did promise my wife that I wouldn't send any money anywhere when I joined this, because she was afraid that it was going to be a cult, and that you know, that it would take all our money. But she's well, DC's been a great friend of ours because he's helped with her cancer, and basically she finds Kerry very attractive. So she's quite happy for me to go and hang out with Kerry for $30 a month, and she's happy for me to hang out with DC for $5 a month because he has personally helped us in her cancer journey. So there we go. Yeah, DC Rebuilding. If anybody doesn't heard of DC Rebuilding, go and find him. He's got an amazing story of twice surviving terminal cancer, stage 4 blood cancer. I can't remember what they call it now. Lymphoma. Yes, stage 4 follicular lymphoma. Survived it twice, and now 10 years on, and he's a what do you call it? He is a gym coach. So he's there he is. That's DC. Very good friend of mine. He's interviewed me at least 3 times. He hasn't got enough. He's only got 1.73K, and yet he's, he's a mate of Dr. Kilt's. He's a very good friend of Bart Kay's. He went down and spent a few weeks down with Bart in Pimbartia, Bart's farm. So yeah, go and find DC and get the word out there, because he deserves more subscribers.
All right. Okay, yeah. There's this channel. So no, I'll leave that tab open so I can go check it out later.
Yeah, definitely, because he's well worth check. I say he gets everywhere. He guests on nearly everything, but he hasn't got as many subscribers as really he deserves. Him, that's just my own view.
So Latro just got home. Good to see you. All right, and then we have going to try some taco meat over arugula with shredded cheddar. Big batch here. I eat some arugula for nitric oxide precursors, and that's interesting that you mentioned nitric oxide precursors because I have high blood pressure. I'm trying to get under control because of my kidneys. So it's secondary. It's not essential, and so I switched my medications, and I heard that nitric oxide can help relax your blood vessels and lower your blood pressure. So I started taking nitric oxide precursors. Well, I probably get about halfway through the bottle, and then I broke out in some kind of skin infection. And I didn't link it to the precursors yet. But then I went to my doctor, and my doctor was like, he thought it was bed bugs. I'm like, it can't be bed bugs. I've scoured my entire room. I have a water bed, so I'm not going to have bed bugs anyway because I have a water bed. I don't have a mattress. You need a mattress for bed bugs. But I'd stripped the sheets. I had washed them, dried them, inspected everything, looked for every place that they could hide. There's no issue there. And then he gave me an antibiotic, and if it didn't help, he was going to send me to a dermatologist. It didn't help. And I started thinking, every time something weird happens, I'm trying to think, well, what's changed lately? And then it dawned on me that I was taking these nitric oxide precursors. So I looked it up. So one of the precursors is an amino acid called L-arginine. And if you look up L-arginine, it can trigger dormant chickenpox. And so basically, like, what I had was an unusual, it didn't look like a typical shingles outbreak, but I think that's what it was. It was a shingles outbreak because I was getting like blisters and open wounds all over my legs, buttocks, back, and it was miserable. And I stopped taking the nitric oxide precursors, and then it cleared up. So that's interesting that you say that. And then I should be getting plenty of L-arginine in my carnivore diet anyway, so I really don't need any more, So it is what it is. But
yeah, there you go. Quick comment on that. I don't know what arugula is. I'm not really familiar with taco meat. However, I am very familiar with cheddar because I live 17 miles from the village of Cheddar here in Somerset, which is where the name comes from and where the cheese comes from. So cheddar is very local to me. It's yes, it's my home game, shall we say, is cheddar.
Mm-hmm. All right, that must be somewhere. Is that somewhere in the comments there? Let me see here.
Yeah, it was on that comment. He was having some shredded cheddar with his nitric oxide. So,
hello, Paul. Hello, Paulo. Hello, Sue, Smoky Bear Lover, and yeah, a lot of familiar faces. So it's a nice community of us that support each other on our lives. So you'll see a lot of familiar faces here on Monday nights on Carnivore Talk. And then I try and return the favor, and whenever I see a live and have an opportunity to join, I like to. You always see my first comments, "Hello from Northeast Ohio," every time I join a chat. So let's see here. I recognize you from Mitch Fitz, and he's actually a little harder for me to watch because he's getting on earlier now. So I used to catch him when I left for work, and I'd hear him on the road. Now I'm catching him, but almost at the very end of his stream because he moved his a little earlier. And
yeah, I must admit, it's a main runner. I've learnt your name tonight for the first time, Don Hooray. So I've made a note of it. So we'll know what to call you in chat from now on.
Might be too high a dose if you take the supplements. Yeah, that might have been the case. So I think that could be because I think it was to take three. It was like take 3 pills daily, and I think when I started, I took 3 at breakfast and 3 at dinner, and then when I started to suspect something was wrong, I reduced it to just the 3, and then, like I said, I eliminated it now, threw it away because I was like, this has to be the source of my issues, and since I've stopped taking it, and my skin's clearing up, yeah. Let's see here. Bob, very interested. Sounds was painful. It was painful. So, and yeah, that's why I said it was like a blister. You know, like I'd try and treat it like a whitehead. You know, to squeeze it, and I could, but then the result would be like a sore. You know, a lesion. Like, and then just anything that touched it, soap, water, anything would just sting, and I had them everywhere. It was so everywhere under my clothing. So I didn't have any like exposed, but yeah. And that's what I think it was. I think it was basically I had chicken pox as a kid when I was like 3 or 4, and you know that virus goes dormant, but it never leaves. You know, it goes into like remission and still lives within
shingles,
you. And then usually, you know, sometime after 50, for most people, it will reemerge one more time, maybe more than one more time, but it'll reemerge later in life as shingles.
Yeah.
And shingles will usually look like a cluster. It could be on your face, it could be on your body.
Or a line.
Usually a cluster of little blisters all together. But I did find some pictures on the internet of shingles outbreaks that looked like chicken pox again. And that's what I think I had.
Yeah.
So my BP goes down after a workout walk. I bought a treadmill last year. It's been in my garage. I finally got it up here and set it up today. I'm so happy. So, all right.
I think
Very
that's the end of
good.
the comment. We got a couple more.
Yeah. Let's see here. I finally returned to the gym. Need 2 days off between sessions. I spend 1.5 hours. Yeah. So I got my treadmill because I'm gonna when I started my carnivore diet, I went from 232 down to 175. And then I intentionally stopped because I had my triglyceride scare, which I've made a video about if you haven't seen it. And now I got my triglycerides back down in a happy place, and I'm ready to take off another 15 pounds. So I'm about to hit the treadmill and go back to a 2 meal a day eating pattern to try and take off some more weight.
I started walking an hour a day again now, which is good. Because I'm working from home now, I have to get out of the house every day, no matter what. So it's I've incorporated that into an exercise routine.
I want to get some nice weights or get a gym membership, and it's just more time, you know. I mean, it's just I need 30 hours a day. 24 is not enough.
No, exactly. That's the problem. 24 hours a day is not enough. That is the issue.
I need 10 for sleep, 10 for work, 10 for play. I'd be happy with that. But so I'd love to, you know, throw in a workout routine and lift weights and stuff. But I'm gonna have to discipline myself to carve out the time for that. Because you know what I would rather do? I'd rather join one of these lives during the week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'd rather come home from work and turn on the Zoom and join a live than actually go to the gym. So. Here's an interesting comment. Shingles. I had long-term neuralgia for 5 years, and years after shingles. Stopped when I got on carnivore. Yeah, interesting. Like I said, I think I did it to myself because if you research L-arginine, it can reactivate any viruses you might have that don't actually go away. And in my case, I think it was chickenpox because what I had looked like chickenpox, and later in life you don't call it chickenpox, you call it shingles. I had a nice 13.1 mile race on Sunday. Nice. Wow. I can't imagine doing that. I did is it a 3K? 5K? Whichever one's 3 miles. I did that one time.
That's 5K.
5K, yeah. And I hated every minute of it.
I ran a 15-miler when I was in the army, but I never ran a marathon, but I did run a 15-mile road race.
Whew. Wow. So, yeah, I used to play soccer, when I was a kid. So I used to be a lot more fit than I am now.
Yeah.
So, was it all over your body or certain areas? So it started on my back. So I'm hairy all over. So every once in a while I get back knee anyway. But like this was like, that's what I thought it was at first, because it was like, it wasn't just like one here or there once every week or two, but all of a sudden it was like a bunch. And then it seemed to like work its way down. So it was upper back, lower back, buttocks, thighs, And yeah, after a while, I was just like, I had to go to my doctor. My doctor's like, at first his first thought was bed bugs. I'm like, impossible. And then I was like, maybe, can it be like MRSA, methicillin resistant Streptococcus aureus or something? It's a horrible bacterial infection that affects the skin.
MRSA, that's right. Yeah.
I said, could it be MRSA, or could it be some sort of other bacterial thing? And he said, maybe. The problem is a lot of things, they look alike, their symptoms.
Yeah.
So then we had to look for a antibiotic that was kidney friendly, because he's paranoid to write me anything now.
Of course, yeah.
And after the last fiasco, and so I got some I think it was called doxycycline or something. It was kidney friendly, and I took that for 10 days, and I didn't really feel like it helped. It may have been helping a little, but at the same time, I had also ceased taking that nitric oxide supplement. So, and now it's like, it's mostly gone. There's still some red bumps remaining that need to completely go away, but I haven't had any blisters now in a week or two, and so I'm definitely healing. But it's also been like I haven't been taking the nitric oxide supplements since before my Myrtle Beach vacation, and that was the 7th or the 13th.
Yeah. I remember. I remember you going on holiday because we didn't get Carnivore Talk one week, did we? I remember that.
Yeah, on the 7th. I don't run, but use a 15-pound weighted vest on my walks. I love it. I'm going to do that someday. I'm going to get either a ruck pack or a weighted vest. I'm always indecisive as to which way to go. And but yeah, I want to do that as well. So I like hiking. So I think I'm going to like that more than the treadmill, because the treadmill's it's just in this room. It's kind of redundant. You can watch TV. Yeah. You can watch TV. I'm on the second floor. It's a hardwood floor. I put a mat down, but still, when you're running on the treadmill, it's like thunk, 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 thunk.
Yeah.
Thunk.
Yeah. I like just to open my front door and get out in the fresh air for an hour and go and do 2 or 3 miles. It's fine.
All right. Thank you for explaining. Yeah, no problem. So I didn't take any pictures of it, so because it was awful looking. Yeah. Nobody wants to see that anyway.
No, it's very cute.
But that's one of my recent little health fiasco, and I think that's what it comes down to. So what the lesson is? Here's the lesson that I need to learn from this, because this keeps happening. Stop supplementing. Just eat a carnivore diet. It's like if I just eat my carnivore diet with a little bit of organs here and there, everything's great. Anytime I try and supplement anything outside of vitamin D, there's problems.
No, I don't supplement anything. I was suffering some cramps back along. I did flirt with magnesium, but I decided to up the salt, and I did, and all the cramps went away. So I cover everything with salt nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With my 60-pound backpack, went 2.3 miles. Oh, that's very good. I'm a little thing, 5 foot, 100 pounds, could carry a 50-pound pack. All right. Bought a supplement to try fucoidin for support of the glycocalyx. Will report if it does anything, or if it dies anything. Either way, report it.
Anything,
yeah. Okay, I'll have to look that up. I haven't heard that. I'm actually going to type that in real quick here. Fucoidan. Whoop. Let me clear the browser. Fucoidan. And sulfated polysaccharide found in brown algae. Let's see here.
Lovely.
Anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, possible support for osteoarthritis, viral infection. It could be good stuff. Who knows? So I'd certainly, I'm not anti-plant. I'm certainly pro-plants for medicine. That's fine. In fact, all your medicines usually started from some sort of plant, one or another.
Herbal medicines, absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
So, all right. Jamet says we give good advice.
Nice. Thank you, Jamet.
All right. And yes, just eat meat. And
that's very good advice.
My YouTube header, Meat heals. Eat meat, repeat. Oh, who says
Yeah.
that? Is that eat meat, repeat?
Adam Lacey, is it?
Is that his? Is that his closing
Carnivore Talk,
signature
Adam Lacey?
closing?
I think it might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think
Somebody's eat
it
meat,
might.
repeat, and then
Yeah.
and then Mitch is
I just.
was it spend the rest of the day and relax.
Take the rest of the day off and then eat meat. Take
And
the
eat
rest of
meat.
the day off
Yeah.
and eat meat. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then I know Thomas was doing for God's sakes eat the meat.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know if he's still doing that or not. So I don't have a signature closing line.
No, nor do I. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've got
I just say I'll
line,
see you next time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of see you next time.
Yeah, I think it's
time
getting
to wrap
very
this
late
up.
here.
Yeah,
My wife just put her head around the door and shook her head at me and thought, "Oh my God, what's he still doing up?" But I
she's
think
like,
she
"What are you
realizes it.
What are
This
you
is my
doing
work.
up at
This is my
3:30 in the
working
morning?"
day, so she's had to get used to it really. So there we go.
Yeah, no, it's 10:30, so I'm going to call it right here. So the 5 on X, the 24 on YouTube, and the 2 on Facebook are still watching. Thank you so much for hanging with us to the end. We really appreciate it. You can hang with me through the week on all these other fine channels that I mentioned, but especially over on carnivore-talk.com. It's a forum where we type back and forth. It's just like anything else, just like Mighty Tribe, just like Kajabi, just like Facebook, and all those groups. It's all text based. Come on over and join the discussion, and consider joining us next Monday. Join us on screen, and we'll be happy to have you and talk face to face. By way of announcements, remember I'm going to be starting an interview program pretty regularly in the near future. So if you're interested in telling your story in an interview, we can do it either live or we can do it recorded. That's entirely up to you. If we do it live, maybe we'll do it on Friday, because according to George, Fridays are dead. So
it's the quietest day of the week, I think. As far as the Kilt's Mighty Tribe is concerned, it's a quiet day.
Okay.
But admittedly, as you said, Bella's out there, so fair play to Bella. I really should go and also Todd as well. So, but they're not KMT really, are they? So, but for KMT are quiet on Friday.
Yeah. Actually, what we'll do is we'll talk and we'll try and come up with a time that works for you as well. So we'll work on that time together, and we'll get it on the calendar, and we'll advertise it ahead of time. So especially if it's live, that way we can have some people in the audience, to maybe bounce some questions off as well. Also, I had a couple more announcements, but I forget them, so I'll say it again. I'll remember them afterwards. Write them down.
Yeah, that's always a problem.
Next Monday. Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, hey, thank you, George, for joining us. You were here the whole time.
I wasn't I? Yeah. And it's
the
now
whole time.
3:38 in the morning over here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long day for me tomorrow, that's for sure, especially with Russ Mitchell on Keto Cookout tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. All right. Good night, Latro. Good night, Grammy G. Good night, Sue. Good night, Main Runner. Donna Ray. Yes. Yeah, all right. And good night, Helen, who just reached over 1,000 subscribers. Great. Go All for Jesus Carnivore. Before you close the window, right-click her name, and you can go over there and visit her channel and subscribe as well. So, and good night, Jamette. So, thank you, everybody. We will see you next Monday. Peace out. There you go. Does that work?